Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the after show. So good to be here, and what an amazing debate. I had a lot of fun watching that and a lot of fun in chat. I definitely am biased towards atheism and apostate prophet kind of side. But I think that both of them did a really good job. I like Hussain a lot. I've had him on the channel before. He's a great guy. I really enjoyed talking to him. I think the interview is somewhere in my links. I can find the interview for you, but it was more him asking about my worldview, which was great because I sort of got to share with him that, sort of atheists aren't just two-dimensional people with one obsession with sort of things. I will open up the room a little bit later. So hi, Bree, I see you there. So good to see you. And there are a few of the channel's friends in the chat, like Beamsy and Pragmatic Crystal and Supra Order. How are you doing? Ember, so good to see you. James Wolf, there's too many mentioned. Beamsy, always a pleasure, always. And I'd love to have people come on and sort of discuss what they thought of the debate, because in my opinion, and of course this is just my opinion, it was a bit of the Texas sharpshooter, that every hit was a hit and every miss didn't matter. It was sort of said, hey, it's allegorical. And so I think that Apostate Prophet really did counter a lot coming from Hussain there. I think Hussain was sort of relying on interpretation, and this is something I want to discuss, and I'd love for people to discuss it with me, sort of what it means when we have to interpret and how liberally are we interpreting things in order to get that sort of scientific accuracy. I had a discussion with P-Town, who I like, but I disagree with, but I do like P-Town. He sort of the idea that if you interpret things in a certain way, anything can be garnered from it. And I really do want to talk about that. So what I'll do is I'll just open up the room. Just give me 1 second and I'll just get myself organized here. So I'll put the link in chat. Join. I'm just going to say anyone can join. Everyone's welcome. I do run a pretty civil room, so let's try and have good conversations, good discussions, listen to each other, and sort of have a really good discussion on this. So there's the link for anyone who is interested. I will replace that message and pin it to the top so we can all. Because it looks better in blue. That's the only reason, let's face it. It looks better in blue. So, welcome everybody. Do feel free to join. I'm more than happy to discuss it with you. And our first panelist is Beamsy. How are you doing, Beamsy? How are you today?
Same old. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. And as you said, it's morning for me. So, waking up to a good debate with somebody said that Hussain was insulting early in the stream. I was actually expecting an interview today, which got cancelled, so I didn't catch the start. But it seemed to me from when I saw it seemed quite civil and, a little bit of spice, but we like that, right? We like it to, have a little bit of contention. It wouldn't be a debate without some disagreement, right? So as far as I could see, it was fine. Did you catch the start of it?
Not the very start of it, but from what I saw, it was rather civil as well.
Fantastic. Well, I'll add the wonderful.
I want to get ready to spark up. Hi.
Yeah, go for it. The wonderful and glorious Bumblebee. How you doing, Bree?
Oh,
are you well?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. Went out to dinner tonight, so went out to dinner with my son, and had some drinks and stuff. So I'm feeling pretty loose and limber tonight.
Loosey goosey, yeah. All right.
But because I was doing that, excuse me, that was a big old hit. But since I was busy doing that, I didn't see, except for the very end of the debate. So I don't have much to say on the debate. I do have a lot to say on the topic, though. I do have a lot to say on the topic.
Yeah, so, sure. I'll just before we go into the topic in general, I'll just add Ember, and I might just sneak in Dr. Dino. Ember, how are you? How are you doing?
Howdy. Oh, multitasking, the usual fun stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very, that feeling when you're sitting there with 5 things to do on your thing and don't know which one to begin to say. I totally got it. What were your thoughts on the debate, and what were any thoughts on the debate, or do you want to go straight to the topic?
I also only caught the end of it. Aaron Rao was over on Deep Drink, so I didn't realize the debate was happening until I saw your notice for the after show, and then I'm like, okay, well, let's see what's going on with the debate.
That's kind of how mine went down too. I went over and watched the last half an hour just so I could be caught up, but it's never enough.
Look, I'm amazed that YouTube told you, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a first for me, but never mind. It's great that you're here. I love having you here. I love having Bree here. And I love having Dr. Dino here, who has the most scientific picture of the lot of us. So, yeah. It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm all right. Debate was interesting. I only really watched the openings.
Oh, and I've got a thing here. Thank you so much. Welcome to the membership, Nara. I thank you so much, and enjoy those emotes and benefits kind of thing. Yeah, go for it.
Pretty colored names.
Yes, and you get a logic slap emote, which I'm very proud of because I did it myself. So
everybody on this stream is a scientifically minded person, I know. So let me present you guys a hypothesis about this, okay? About the whole topic. Okay.
Yep.
That because of the Abrahamic faith, Islam is the youngest, therefore its original doctrine took place later in time, therefore its doctrine took place, it was recorded at a time when there was more scientific knowledge, that Islam will have more scientific knowledge within its text than you would find among the other Abrahamic faiths. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, but that's sort of what's the topic of the debate? It's not whether it's more scientifically accurate than Christianity. It's whether it's scientifically accurate. So we've got a sort of demarcation problem.
Well,
like, so what? Yeah,
that's because it's a graded. You're talking about a grading system on whether it's accurate. It can be accurate. Sure, there's accurate things in Genesis 1, but but it doesn't mean that the story itself is true or based on anything true. You have scientifically true pieces of things. It's the Spider-Man in New York City argument, except for with.
Was the original topic if it was scientifically accurate or just if it was scientific?
I don't know, actually. That's a very good question.
I could have sworn it said originally.
It would be a more interesting. It would be a more interesting topic to discuss, which was more scientific.
Is this Quran scientifically accurate?
Yeah.
Well, I don't
That's the title
know
it has now.
It just says, "Is the Quran scientific?" Is what I.
Oh, is the Quran scientific? Okay.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, that's
But the title seems to be changed now.
Well,
that happens from time to time.
Yeah.
As the debate develops, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, for sure.
But
yeah, I don't think it stacks up very well even against older religions. Like, for example, in
oh, you're right. I got the subject wrong. I'm sorry.
Pesky screws. My tripod's got a loose leg.
Sorry.
Cancel Mark Reed.
Yeah, I know. Get rid of me. I'm terrible.
Whoever runs this channel should fire him.
Oh, I know. I'm going to fire them immediately.
Yeah.
But like, I'm thinking of like the old Hebrew texts, right, where they've got a few things not so great, but a few things pretty close to accurate. For example, that concept of life beginning with first breath, like full life kind of thing. That's a thing that we've only recently verified with science, insofar as there's like at the moment of birth, it ignites neural pathways that have been dormant during the entire pregnancy. The trapdoor in the heart slams shut. All these things. Basically, you become a fully functional human being with your first breath. And I'm not saying the Bible is super accurate about that. It's just there's things like that that are closer to true than you get from the Quran with, like, semen comes from the backbone kind of thing.
Right. Right.
In the end, it's still an allegory.
Well, yeah, and that seemed to be the defense for most of these things. It's allegorical kind of thing, and to me, it's just not a good defense because any miss, you sort of go, well, it's an allegory, and any hit, you say, well, that's the scientifically accurate part.
Sorry, that semen in the backbone line.
It's one of my favorites.
Well, I've heard somebody sort of say, "Hey, the testicles are between the backbone and the rib kind of thing," and it's like, no, they're really not. That is not. No. Yeah, I know. It's sort of this. Well, how dare you, Oznian? How dare you? Yeah, it's certainly not. Like, and my counter to that when I was talking to the person is, well, if you had a doctor tell you that, they probably should be, have their medical license taken away because that is so medically inaccurate. That is not the human physiology at all. Like, they obviously do not know where that particular organ is. So it's weird. It's kind of, but I ran into the same thing with P-Town, the way that he interpreted things. To say generously would be an understatement. So it's not like Islam is the only religion that does this. It's certainly not, and probably not even the worst, because the generosity given to certain things in the Bible, for instance, sort of, oh, that shows that they knew this. And it's like, well, it doesn't say anything of the sort, like when God expanded the heavens and they say, look, they knew about the Big Bang and the expansion of the universe. And it's like, no, that's not what that says.
I mean, kind of related to something I said the last time I was on, yelling at P-Town. The book makes 1,000 different claims. 5 of them are right. That doesn't mean you can trust it.
Right.
Yeah, if you don't even have a high enough hit ratio to pass a high school test, it's not looking too good.
Right. And sort of some of the things, like what fascinated me was the ye old camel urine kind of thing. That was kind of fascinating.
I've just spent the last 30 minutes reading all about urine, and
I know, me too. The World Health Organization does not recommend. I'll put it that way. That they found sort of compounds that could be beneficial, but not like they'd have to extract them first, essentially.
Are you talking about the people who drink their pee?
Well, not their pee, camel pee.
Oh, because there's people who drink their pee and it's gross.
Yeah,
and
I'm aware.
And they put it in their eyes and.
Yeah, there's a flat earther that thinks it benefits him, and sort of doctors don't recommend it, kind of thing. Like it's kind of, you would do it in a survival situation only. And as Apostate Prophet, who's amazing, I just got to say, Apostate Prophet is, he's just so soft spoken, but confident and delivers information well and in a concise fashion. He's a fantastic debater. I must say, he's definitely one of my favorites. But sort of as he pointed out, like that will keep you alive, but it doesn't mean it's good for you. The whole thing is it has to be good for you for that to be right.
Yeah,
but
when I was in Boy Scouts, when I was little, well, maybe it was even Cub Scouts, they went through the whole survival thing, like, build a lean-to, this and that. And if you can't find fresh water, they say you can drink your own urine in a pinch, but only do it once, because after that it'll be so full of nonsense that you're going to have a bad time.
In an absolute desperate situation, it's actually better to drink someone else's urine, as long as it's another person's, than it is to drink your own, because you've already extracted and put in your own waste into the urine. Whereas there is less waste of your own in another person's urine. So, mind you, it's not much different in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know, for sheer personal reasons. This is
This is where the average Holden viewer says, "See, this is what they waste their money on, these big universities." This is.
Well, I mean, like, just from like what urine is, like,
a waste product. Yeah.
Well, it's a waste product, but I mean, camels are heavily evolved for the desert, so they pee as little as possible. And
it's going to be super concentrated.
Obscenely. Like, just looking up a picture of their kidneys, like, I'm looking at one, it's got to be like 12, 15 centimeters long.
Wow.
It's a big-ass kidney.
An ass kidney, hey? Okay, well, that's the first time I've heard of that.
So
you might be better off killing the camel and drinking its blood for hydration. At least it'll have less waste in it.
Actually, yes.
People are saying we waste our money on that, but they did find the camel urine to have some anti-carcinogenic properties. So maybe we're not. Maybe camel urine holds the key to, preventing cancer. Did you ever think about that?
I know reindeer urine holds
avocados
the key to
have anti-carcinogens too.
Reindeer urine holds the key to some trippy experiences, as I understand it.
Oh, that's if they've eaten mushrooms. Yeah, I heard about that. If reindeer eat this certain mushroom, and then you
collect their pee from the snow.
You can
fancy snow cones.
You can have a
make it open up that stand. I bet you'll make a killing.
So that's why they tell you not to eat the yellow snow.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, eat the snow cone and you will see God.
Oh, we shouldn't, because you realize tomorrow somebody's going to watch the stream, and then next week there's going to be pop-up shops all up and down California and the boardwalk in Atlantic City selling these health snow cones.
Right. Right.
Maybe
I
to
am now
change the topic a tiny bit.
Please do.
Just seeing P-Town got brought up in chat. Still haven't heard back from him on a debate/discussion. Kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked to Pete, and I feel guilty though. He sounded so tired after last time we talked to him. I felt kind of bad for him. He sounded exhausted. I sort of just left him alone, to be honest.
Mark, you are exhausting.
I know. I don't know why you put up with me, Bree. You're going to be, subject to that exhaustion after our debate, which looks like it might be going ahead this week. So.
Yeah, I think we're doing it this weekend. I think so far. Let's go ahead and you want to announce it now? I think we got a time pinned down.
Oh, sure. Do we have a link and everything? I must admit, I didn't.
We don't have a link, but it's going to be on everybody here. Everybody here know Amy Newman, right?
Hell yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Beamsy.
Oh, Beamsy.
Beamsy lives at Amy Newman's. He lives on one of her shoes.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Well, you can't say go wrong with those shoes.
Mm-hmm. And then we're
I can put up something. I was going to put it in my sort of community tab when we got a link for it, kind of thing. I'm really excited about it.
Like you said, like 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. So
yep.
I'm Central.
And that's Sunday Eastern. So I've got over on Ember's channel on the Saturday night Eastern, and then Sunday Eastern we've got that debate.
You said Ember?
Yeah. Mark and I have been doing debate reviews. We've been bouncing back and forth between each other's channel.
Give me your channel link, sweetie, so I can subscribe to you. I don't have it.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
I didn't know you had a channel. I thought you just did went on other people's channels and did stuff.
Oh,
I have watched you over here
to bug other people too.
Can I request specific debates from you guys?
Yeah, like we tend to pick them. We got Mark, we got another request at the end of my last Sunday Night Live show, I think.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was, but I did save that debate, and we're already slated for whoever the hell we said last time. I think it was Dillahunty and somebody else.
No, it was
we did Dillahunty last week. But it was another Dillahunty debate. I just
said it
remember.
Was Aaron Ra versus Hake. I think it was that you mentioned, but I don't think you'd settled on that.
Oh, it was Leo versus Hake. Yeah,
that's. Oh, it was Leo. That's who's tomorrow. Yes.
Night. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, Leo versus Hake tomorrow, and then the request we got was for Dillahunty versus Saiten Bergenkate.
Oh
well,
I've seen that. Have you seen that debate?
Mm-hmm. It's
my favorite Dillahunty debate was Dinesh D'Souza. That one.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. That was pretty good.
He humiliated him. I think Dinesh is a pompous ass though, so he kind of had it coming. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Enough.
One thing I do find in regards to interactions with people who are not scientifically minded but present themselves that way. When I talk about things that interest me, I seem to just get more charged up and want to go and get energized. But when they talk about stuff that is in my field of interest, they seem to just get drained and exhausted, as if it's almost they're forcing themselves to be there.
Yeah. The mark of a scientist is that crazy nerd energy.
I wish I had more of that. I am so envious of Forrest Velkai. But when I do get into a discussion with somebody and they'll bring up, I don't know, let's use the Big Bang, for example, and I'll be like, okay, well, look at the redshift of distant quasars, the Z value is over 9, and they'll be like, well, actually, if you can, I have my camera off and I'm still gesturing. Never mind me. But yeah, the point is I get all excited when people present me new information. I'm like, yeah, give me more goodies.
It's that nerd energy you get from something that I don't know how to describe it. It just seems to happen with anyone who talks about something that interests them. Look at Mark when he starts talking about what's the one you were talking about? The social interactions? I can't remember what you call it. Humanitarian aspects.
What?
You're interested? No, you're interested in the humanitarians. I can't remember your standpoint on it again.
Secular humanism?
That's it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's fascinating to me. But the question here is, so we're sort of saying, is it scientifically accurate? What does scientifically accurate even mean? Like, what does it mean to be scientifically accurate? I didn't see the start, so I didn't know whether Apostate Prophet actually sort of defined what we mean by scientifically accurate. But it's sort of an important question that sort of would the accuracy of the Quran as far as it regards to these natural phenomenon be accepted into a scientific context, scientific literature? I would say absolutely not.
Does it produce any nominal, testable predictions?
Yeah, like who was the Muslim guy again? I can't remember his name.
Hussain Ember.
Hussain.
Was his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Good Ember.
There is no Good Ember. What are you talking about?
Fair enough.
So anyway,
my request.
His whole opening was just firing off a bunch of little science facts that he said were accurate from the Quran, but I'm pretty sure at least a couple of them were wrong. Like he said, in a beehive, all of the workers are male, when as far as I know, most of them are female. You can correct
all
me
of
on
them
that.
are female. Yeah, drones
Can
are male.
confirm that the males are basically little worthless guys that don't do anything besides consume and breed.
So like humans, yeah, gotcha.
I was thinking it, but I'm like, it's
No,
just too mean.
My request was for the Ludlow Hovind debate. Do we have that reviewed? I was friends with Bill Ludlow, so before he passed away, we had just I just started helping him in like August. Come over to help him on his because he was trying to get his channel going. He was doing like deconversion stories and stuff. He was getting good stride before he passed away. But he said there's people out there saying no one knew he was sick, but some of us did, But I didn't know until like right before he passed, so I didn't even say goodbye to him or anything.
That's very rough.
You've got a point. Like, what does it state anything that would be known by some divine information? Technically, it wasn't the topic of the debate, but yeah, I get what you're saying. That the argument for scientific accuracy in the Quran is that they couldn't possibly have known that by any other way but sort of some kind of divine knowledge passed on. I think it falls very, very short of scientific knowledge. That's a good question, though.
That's why it's stated. Can it provide a divinely inspired, nominal, testable prediction?
I don't. It's so hard to say what a prediction that they couldn't possibly know might look like. Like, I mean, maybe if they describe the geography of North America or something, but even then, a more rational hypothesis would be the Phoenicians were ocean travelers and had visited and brought a map back or something.
Right, but I think there's some things like if they said that, something like there's other planets like the Earth out in the universe somewhere, I think that would go a long way to sort of adding credibility, like something they couldn't possibly know.
Oh sure, yeah, exoplanets would definitely merit some attention.
I mean, that would warrant some attention, but I don't feel like that would make it scientific.
Well, really. No, but you're talking about sort of what would make up a novel testable prediction, like if it sort of had things in it that would be, sort of the way we do predictions now. If it said something like, we're going to find a fossil with unfused wing fingers, that would go a long way to, expressing credibility.
Or maybe more so, I mean, like, rather than just declaring this is how something is and it is that way, I feel like a more scientific book would be like, this is how you learn what something is. This is how you can make a prediction, or something like that.
That would be far more useful than actually any prediction you could make.
Yeah, learning new stuff is always preferable. But what really bugs me is that this divinely inspired text from God didn't even include the stuff that was already known at the time. Like a lot of, not modern medicine, but like medicine was starting to advance both in ancient Egypt and the physician schools in Greece. So there were known facts about human anatomy that were not included in the Quran. They had mistaken information.
You mean like sperm didn't come from between the ribs? Have they figured that out?
to cite one, esoteric example.
Yeah. Well, a thing that they really focused on was the whole idea of this protected sky or protective sky, as Hussain sort of claimed. I looked it up, and it definitely is not protective. It's not saying the sky is something protective. It's saying that the sky is protected. So, there's something else protecting the sky kind of thing. So it was kind of disappointing that Hussain got the sort of wrong translation. And it would have been a stretch to say that the sky is protective because it said protected. It's very specific about what it says. Somebody put across...
I hate you, Randolph.
Somebody put across the idea that it was sort of the ozone layer kind of thing, but that doesn't really protect the sky.
Yeah.
Per se.
And additionally, I'd point out that the Barringer meteor crater begs to differ about the sky being protected.
Right. And there's a lot of meteors that come in.
I mean, I'm from Iowa. We have the Manson impact crater. Thing hit right when the dinosaurs were going extinct. For a while, we thought it, or for a little bit, we thought it might have been the cause of their extinction. But no, it turns out it was.
Blame Iowa. Blame Iowa.
You Iowans have been hiding a crater on me all the times I've driven through. What the hell?
Well,
man?
it's like 2 or 3 counties wide. It's huge.
Sometimes
it's hard to see anything
size.
with all the 9-foot tall corn everywhere. So
It's
it's not
on a topographic map.
It's not the size of your meteor. It's the iridium levels within it.
Hell yeah.
wait, in terms of like the damage that it can do, because I would say it's not the size, it's the velocity with which it strikes the surface of the Earth.
It's a bit more.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
I should say
the
specifically
country.
the momentum with which it strikes the surface of the Earth.
So I'm not from the country, but
Yeah.
are you telling me the big draw for Iowa is a hole in the ground? Is that what you're telling me?
Well,
There's corn
I
in it.
understand it. It may be
corn,
that the
yeah.
hole in the ground is nice.
It's a cornhole.
But for me, it's the world's largest.
No,
truck
it's a
stop.
meteorite hole.
I just want to. Can I reiterate that a third of this panel is in Iowa? However,
Wait,
Woo! Go Iowa!
Really?
yeah,
Who's
Wait.
in Iowa?
Me?
Certainly not me, and it's not Beamsy. Oh, you.
No, it's Mark.
Okay, cool.
Mark is in Iowa. Mark and Beamsy
yeah,
are
I'm-
definitely the two in Iowa.
Yeah,
They
they
are
said that
definitely. You can tell by their accent.
Thick
Hey.
Iowan accent.
Hey, Leo,
I
without
was called a
doxing
New
yourself, what
Zealander
part of Iowa?
tonight. I was this. Yeah, Hussain called me a New Zealander. I'm pretty
That-
sure
that
he was
there's a
winding me
deadly
up,
insult.
Yeah, Leo, without doxing yourself, what part of Iowa?
North Central Iowa, Franklin County.
No. Give the political.
I don't know how to
compass
do that.
answer.
I'm from
Give us
from Franklin County. Look, I don't care about giving away my location. All I gotta say is, if you're coming for me, end of the laneway. Don't come up the property.
I grew up in Jackson,
Yep.
up on the northeast side.
That was a
Okay.
Wayne moment right there.
That
My
was a
family's
great show.
originally
I've seen
from-
that. That's awesome.
It is. My family's originally from the Waukon, Decorah area up in northeast Iowa, but my grandfather and
Okay.
grandmother
Yeah,
moved down here in the
Decorah's pretty
50s when he got out of the military for the electrician job that he got.
So,
My family was kind
Decorah
of
is pretty.
all over the Midwest.
and I'm within a 2-hour drive of the Iowa border right now, but
Gonna guess
That's-
Chicago?
Chicago, that'd be a 10-hour drive.
From
It's
Iowa?
like 2 hours.
Well, in,
I don't
in
know what it is
3
in
fairness,
hours,
Iowa.
depending on how fast you go.
once you
I
get
don't know where
within
anything is from
like
anything.
50 miles of Iowa, it's a 3-hour drive. Or not Iowa, Chicago. Once you get like 50 miles from Chicago, it's a 3-hour drive to get to Chicago.
Well, okay, I guess depending on what part of Chicago.
No, I'm not from Chicago. I'm on the opposite side of the state than Chicago. I'm on the Missouri border. I'm like right across the river from Missouri. Illinois. I'm in Illinois.
Okay.
But I'm close to Iowa. We call ourselves the tri-state area because it's where all three of them come together. I'm actually 2 hours was an exaggeration. I'm probably more like 45 minutes from Iowa.
Okay. Bree, do you know what Illinois' state fossil is?
Is it the Tully monster?
It's the Tully monster.
Yeah.
You have a state fossil?
Yeah. You don't have a state fossil?
It's
know what it is
absolutely
for Iowa?
insane.
Iowa
Look
state
up the
fossil?
You know
Tully
what it is for
monster.
Iowa?
It's weird as shit.
I fossil hunted in Maison Creek.
Oh, okay. Now I'm jealous.
Yeah, we should all go fossil hunt in Maison Creek. It's close to Chicago, close-ish to Chicago.
It's a whale shark for me.
Here,
Rhincodon typhus.
there we go. Tully monster, spelled like that.
Oh, I know what a Tully monster is. I wanted to find one.
I'm telling Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
They
You
don't
know
know
what it is for
exactly
Iowa?
what
Talking
the
about
Tully
a state
monster.
fossil.
What is the Iowa state fossil, Leo?
That
Or
looks like a cuddle
corn.
Give
It's
give
corn.
Taylor a chance to answer. Corn, shut up.
Yeah, it's corn.
It's also what's the Iowa state bird? Corn.
Fair.
No, that was
Okay.
pork. That was
The
pork.
Iowa
Because,
state
pigs can
bird
fly.
is partly yellow.
Hell yeah.
It's
Are you
actually
drinking?
finch, I believe.
Are you drinking
Okay,
tonight,
this
Leo?
this is the Tully monster. I mean,
Okay, I'm gonna grab a beer
What?
then after I finish my Red Bull.
That's
it is aggressive
Bree,
corn, isn't it? It's very
make sure-
aggressive corn.
Make sure
It's
you grab
what
the
the
absolute.
absolute fuck.
Make sure you grab. Is my mic muted? I don't know. Anyway, make
I
sure
can
you
hear ya.
grab the most trans beer ever, Bud Light. And then what you need to do
Fuck
is you
yeah.
need to get like duct tape and cover the Bud Light and just write trans beer where in like Sharpie on the duct tape over the because it will just be
Why
the
is-
funniest.
why
Like
is
if
Bud
I
Light
ever get
trans?
invited, I will do
Yeah.
what Lance did when he went on Tim Pool. Except instead of just having the Bud Light, I will literally duct tape over the Bud Light. And in black Sharpie, I will write trans beer, and I will drink that because, oh my god, that would be the funniest fucking thing ever.
I don't
Oh,
think
it would
no.
piss so many people off.
You
I don't
know,
think
don't
they have
know.
any Bud Light, but there is Budweiser in there, which is a little bit heavier, I think.
it's higher calories, but I mean,
It's the
they're all
heavier
just
gay
kind of
beer.
like polluted water. But that does bring to mind when Jesus transformed water into wine. Did that make it trans wine?
Well, I
Have you
liked
guys heard-
Tom Rabbit's.
I was just about to say, the
I know you were,
transgender dilemma.
sweetie. Me and you,
The
babe.
transgender. I think it's actually great. And everybody's like, well, it shouldn't be considered a serious argument. Well, it's not like an argument for anything. What it's designed to do is show that, like, if Christians are anti-trans, that fundamentally they would have an issue with their view. That it wouldn't be justified for the Christian to be anti-trans in virtue of the fact that either A, Jesus had no gender prior to his incarnation, in which case he transitioned into malehood when he became incarnate, and thereby transitioning is legitimized, or Jesus was possessed malehood, so to speak, prior to his incarnation, in which case biology doesn't define malehood or femalehood, womanhood, however you want to say it, and in which case transgender identities are, again, legitimized. So no matter which way you slice it, the Christian doesn't seem to have much of a justification for being anti-trans.
Two horns, yep.
And on the topic
Leo's
of
spoiling our
alcohol,
debate
man,
review.
no matter what beer is, almost I just can't stand most beer.
I like cerveza as my favorite kind of beer.
Well,
just makes
cerveza
me
is
burp.
beer.
Well, I mean,
Cerveza
like-
is literally the Spanish
like-
word for beer.
I know when I say cerveza, I guess I mean beer made.
It'd be
with,
like saying my favorite kind of water is agua.
Well,
I'm sorry, I
it
gotta
actually-
fuck with you. Come on.
Do aliens
Yeah,
count as beer?
yeah, Leo. I get what you're saying.
But
It's
I know
funny
what
'cause
you
people
mean.
are-
You like Mexican beer.
Yeah, I do.
No one's
I like
favorite
it- I
water
like-
is Mexican
I like,
water, Leo. Come on now.
I like skunky.
You like
I like
Chinese
skunky
food.
beer.
Does ale count as a beer?
Ale?
Yeah.
Ale. No.
Yes.
It's
Well,
technically a
I think it
different
can
kind
be
of
more than a
beverage,
beer.
but
Technically.
I'd categorize it in
Okay.
the general beer area. You know, just like mead, it's very low alcohol
But
content.
don't you use
for-
fruit in ale?
I think
No,
you can. Wait,
no.
is
I
fruit
don't
the
know.
one that you use in ale, or is
I just know I love
No.
a good ale.
because I know there's pilsners, there's
You could-
ales, there's lagers.
But
Shit, what else
ale-
is there?
What is it
No, ale
if
is
you use
wheat,
peel
I think.
like
There's mead.
orange peels and stuff in it? It's what does
Mead
that
is
what does that make
honey.
it? Is that mead's when you ferment honey, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What is
That just sounds good.
what is it when you
Fermented
use
honey
like
just sounds
orange
delicious.
peels and things like that
Hell yeah.
for the fermentation process? There's a different name for
Blue
it. I can't
Moon?
think of it.
Oh,
I do love a
marmalade?
blue
I don't
moon.
know.
Blue moons are yummy.
Now, marmalade is it kind of like a type of jelly.
Yeah, so ale is made from grain water and fermented with yeast kind of thing. So it's not even hops like beer uses. So it's a different product. What is it? I'm not aware of any
Lager?
alcohol uses.
What's the difference between a lager?
Cider uses fruit. Cider uses fruit, I think.
hmm
Orange
The only
peel
thing-
is amaretto.
That sounds right, Taylor. Yeah. Do
the
you want me
only
to call
thing
you?
that defines a
Do you want me
beer-
to call you Dr. Dino or what? I don't know what you want to call called anymore.
I mean, call me Dr. Doc D. I do not care.
Taylor.
Double D.
Big D.
Well, Taylor's
Wait,
not my name,
hold on.
but-
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
DD.
Never mind.
We call you DD.
Sure,
DD.
that's fine.
No, that's kind of, you know.
Darth Dawkins.
A beer is
No.
defined as
No.
anything that is brewed.
He's
through
dunking- he's
fermentation
dunking
of
on,
anything that is starchy. So it could be. So that's why ale is a type of beer.
Thank you, Beamsy. That was
What is it? What was that, Bamesy?
Beer is defined as anything that is brewed through fermentation of anything that with starches, predominantly grains.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
So
That's what I
can-
thought beer was too, yeah.
so
Well,
barley, rice.
then I
You
guess
can make a
ale
rice
is the
beer.
one kind of beer I can
You can make corn beer, you can make rice beer, you can make barley, wheat. Did I say rye already? I think I did. What's the other one?
Yeah,
You
has
can make
anybody
beer
ever
out of
tried
oats, I
rice
believe.
beer though?
No.
No, I've had
Hey, wait a
sake,
second.
but
Does
not.
moonshine count as beer then? If
Sake
you make it
is rice
from
beer.
corn?
Yeah, I've had that. That's awesome.
Sake is
Sake?
rice wine.
Sake is rice
Yes.
wine, not rice beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said I'd had sake, but not rice beer.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if that's a similar.
I don't like beer
flavor to
anyway,
it.
so you know.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go grab
I-
my beer. I can still hear you guys, so don't talk shit about me.
I'm
Oh, that
debating
Brie.
having
Hey guys,
a
let's all
beer.
talk shit about Brie.
Not sure.
Damn it,
Yeah.
Bree. And suddenly there's silence. No one has anything
Yeah,
bad
I
to
know,
say
I know.
about Bree.
Well, I could get back on topic if you want, because we've like strayed.
Oh,
This
why would we
tangent
wanna
is,
do
like,
that?
Out of control. Well, because maybe there's an audience that we've all forgotten about, or something. That tuned in to hear you speak about the topic of the debate. But
I
All
mean,
right, which of
I'm
the Abrahamic
glancing at
faiths
the
is the
chat.
most scientific? There we go. There's a debate topic.
By the way, I do not
Yeah.
believe Budweiser is classified as a rice beer because it also uses barley malt. So, amongst
Which
other
one?
things, I do not believe that it would be a Budweiser. That's not even a fucking choice, dude. Busch Light is the Marlboro Red of beers. Gross, harsh, nasty. Yet somehow all the rednecks drink it.
Tell you
What I
what,
don't
it's
like about
Marlboro Red.
American- I don't
It's
like
one step
American
up from
lager.
PBR.
In general, any Miller, Coors, I don't like any of them. Like prefer any of them. This is Ian's stuff from his party. I just got leftover that I can drink if I want to. But I like most beers. I like are foreign.
Hey, Brie,
To
virtual
Uh-huh.
cheers.
cheers, babe.
Now you
Well,
gotta actually like tap the
um,
camera. Like, come on
us-
now.
Australians say that American beer is like sex in a canoe.
Oh shit, I'm fucking with my screen. What am I doing? Damn.
It's fucking.
So,
Sex
What's
in
like a
canoe?
fucking? Wait, hold on, Mark.
Oh,
What's like fucking?
I
in a
know
canoe?
the joke, but I don't
No,
remember. the exact joke.
American beer is like sex in a canoe. It's fucking close to water.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
that's my opinion.
right.
Right, too.
Yeah,
This is about as strong
Yep.
as you get from old, from at least the main labels of Anheuser-Busch production, though.
that's why I drink it.
Yeah. I don't even like beer. I don't drink beer. So I'm a weird Australian that doesn't like beer. So Please forgive me, country.
You might like a blue moon, though. Maybe.
People always say that to me. You might like this. You might like this one that has a mango.
Okay, I
taste.
won't pressure you.
Yeah, don't, because I know what I like. I like cider. I love cider. Cider is amazing. I love it.
You know what I like?
I'm sold on cider.
Sangria.
No, I'm kind of like R and Raw. I like very heavy, dark beers that are, high in alcohol, like 13% stouts. Ooh, yeah, that's, fuck me standing is where it is at. Ooh, I'll tell you what, buddy. Yeah, you want to talk about flavor? You want to talk about putting some hay on your peaches? I'll tell you what, buddy.
Guinness is probably what you're after then, Leo.
No, Guinness is only like 5-point-something%, isn't it?
Yes,
Guinness makes a good stew, though.
What is a Budweiser?
Guinness is all. I mean, I like Guinness, but it's a bit too smooth for me. Not enough carbonation in it.
I think that's still about as close to what a Budweiser is.
Jake says he repeated that humans are made from water, which is not correct any more than we come from rocks, kind of thing. Like, that is not true. We just have water in us. We're not made from water. That's really.
Now I'm thinking of that old TNG episode.
No, I don't drink beer.
Ugly bag of mostly water.
I gotta be honest, I'm just not a fan of phrases like "come from" and "made from." They're kind of vague.
Mm-hmm. What about emergent? What about emergent property of?
I love emergent properties.
That's better.
They're my favorite properties.
Yeah.
Like somebody who uses terms like emergence or reduction or like something like that, consistence or something like that, that's better than saying comes from.
I like to say a population diversified from, when I'm talking about evolution, that really complements the action a lot better than saying they descended from, because that doesn't imply descended from implies the extinction of the parent population, which is nowhere in the equation for speciation.
Not necessarily.
I know it doesn't entail it, but it does imply it, at least in the mind of like a lay terminology. My thoughts.
I mean, I'm descended from Irish people. That doesn't necessarily imply that the Irish are extinct.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you've got to remember that all of those classifications, they are just labels kind of thing. They're labels on progressive evolutionary states that we're putting on them kind of thing. There's no...
Did you...
like...
Because descend or ascend, it's arbitrary, right? However, it depends on which way you want.
Would be a better word.
Contrived, thank you, Leah.
Do you mean derived?
No, contrived.
We are the biggest fucking nerds.
Arbitrary would be like if something's arbitrary, it's done without reason. But if something's contrived, it doesn't have like some objectivity rooted in reality. Like the way that we classify life is not an objective feature of life, but it's done with reason. It's contrived by humans.
Yes. Okay. No, you're totally right. That's the wrong word I used, Leah.
Sorry, I was getting a drink. I lost track of the conversation.
We are literally the biggest nerds on YouTube. Somebody just logged in on YouTube, listened to our conversation for the last minute and a half, and fucking quit the internet ever.
Well, that's a bold claim for a start, Bree. Claim to be the biggest nerd on the internet is a bold claim.
Bold claim. I have to back that with some evidence, right?
I do gotta say quickly, and you can ask Mark and Bree on this. The minute somebody tells me that they might not understand what I'm saying, I will make sure you understand it. Oftentimes, I'll end up over-explaining it.
Look, because I know I said that you didn't explain things well. I think I adjusted that, and I sort of said, if people have the basics down, you explain it really well. If people don't have the basics, they've got no idea what you're talking about, Leo.
Mm-hmm. And that's why oftentimes I often come off as interrogative when in reality what I'm trying to do is figure out where the other person's at, so I know how to come at this situation. Do they know more than me? Do they know as much as me? Do they know less than me? How are they approaching this? What's their framework? Because I think that's important in understanding the other person, is understanding their perspective, their framework, and their level of understanding already coming into the discussion that you're having.
14.
And some people are not cooperative with you when you try to get a little probative. And if you've ever had that happen to you, I'm sure you understand why I can get quite frustrated when that happens.
42, 43.
Sure.
I put together a little compilation of different times that happened between me and Leo.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. There's Forrest right there.
Yeah,
I went on to Captive Desks, and I was given a nerd quiz by Dave of Captive Desk, like it totally sprung on me, like prove your nerdhood kind of thing. It was
It's been coming up a lot lately.
No pocket protector was the only one you didn't get, wasn't it?
That's the one I tripped up on. So
Do you really want to know the key to? Do you really want to know the key to proving your nerdiness? You have to use tivities. Words that end in tivity, objectivity, subjectivity, normativity. You got to use your tivities. If you use those, that's like peak nerdness right there.
Right.
You got to use the tivities.
I know I use reciprocity a lot. That's a $5 word right there.
Yeah. Showing your pedantivity there, Leo.
Yeah,
pedantivity. Exactly. You just, no, seriously, just start turning the end of every word into tivity.
It's like noun or verbing a noun, except now we're what even is that? Is that
verbativity?
Adjective.
Yeah.
Adjectivity.
Adjectivity.
Hey,
now we're
by the way,
philosophizing.
I'm trying some whiskey just for something new. Is it supposed to feel like there's a fire in your stomach?
Yep, it's working as intended.
Okay.
Wait, okay,
It's
I'm
a-
confused. Did somebody
What
take
kind of
drugs,
whiskey?
and what kind of drugs did you take?
It is the reason that the Indians called it firewater.
So,
That's actually a goal. That's a feature, not a bug.
No, I'm seriously confused. Did Dr. Dino take a drug, and if so, which one did you take, my friend?
It is Caliber Canadian whiskey.
Oh,
Canadian whiskey's really nice, actually. Yeah, Canadian's good.
So, thanks to some meds I have to take, I have become an ultra lightweight. So I'm trying this a shot at a time, seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
Tim's comment's funny. Whiskey is a class 2 drug.
Probably two. I would probably wouldn't exceed 2 shots before you wait about half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can take a few
be
shots.
gentle with yourself. And
I'm not like a heavyweight, but I'm not a lightweight. I can handle myself. I could probably put down an 18 pack in a day if I wanted to.
I used to be a heavyweight. I used to have to fucking chug stuff to get drunk, but
Those college days
tanked it.
The perceived warming effect of hard liquors was part of their selling point back in the olden days when people had.
I have a very
it's only
serious
perceived.
question.
It's not actually warning you. That's the problem. It's actually dehydrating.
Psychological.
You, so yeah.
I have a
Yeah,
very
drink water with it.
serious question for Dr. Dino.
Yeah.
I presume you have a degree in some field of biology?
Well, I'm a geo major, bio minor, but I have a bachelor's.
Oh, okay. How many geo tests did you take hungover? How many tests in general did you take hungover? If
None,
any.
actually. I avoided alcohol.
Yeah.
I avoided alcohol during the week. I only ever drank on like Friday or Saturday night, so I'd have a day to recover.
Smart. At least see, we got smart people out there. That's nice to see. Rather than
Somebody's
I got
gotta-
What?
That said, during finals, there were some days where I wouldn't sleep for 2 or 3 days in a row just because of the sheer amount of coffee I was chugging.
See, that's the one thing I have not yet endured is earning an undergraduate physics degree and then earning a graduate physics degree. Oh boy, if I ever do it, it's gonna be much fun.
I mean, how many shots of espresso do you need to take before you got to start worrying about a heart attack?
I would imagine probably a lot.
Yeah.
And Dr. Dino's over here like, well, how much is a lot, though?
I had like 10 or
you can give yourself a heart
attack
attack easier by Red Bull or energy drinks. That's a lot easier.
They're so bad. I hate energy drinks.
Bad. Yeah.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, I haven't had energy drinks for ages. Look, my worst experience drinking came from have you ever had Jaeger bombs?
I love Jaeger bombs.
Right.
I
so
don't like Jaeger.
Look, they
black licorice is yummy
up because the energy drink stimulates you while the alcohol is a depressant. So it like basically those gears clash. Yeah, and they absolutely screw you up. I did this night of Jaeger bombs. I thought I had a good time. I didn't. Everything was completely black. Right. Like, well, I got up in the morning and I'm like, "Oh, Lynn, like I had a great night." And she's like, "No, you didn't. Like, no, you really did not." Kind of thing.
Did you go to a dark place, Mark?
Well, not afterwards, but I realized, wow, I literally have had my mind wiped of one of the most horrible experiences, kind of thing. Like I was in the shower,
you got
like
blackout,
vomiting, and I was absolutely blacked out. So that was probably the last time I've drunk heavily ever, because that was.
I've never gotten blackout drunk, but I know when I start feeling dizzy, I gotta stop.
I have never been.
This wasn't even like I had memory of like getting drunk and then like, kind of thing. This wiped everything up to, tipsy and then nothing kind of thing. Like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I've never been like strip naked and attack your father-in-law or something, right?
I've never been blackout drunk before. But I feel like I've consumed enough alcohol. Like, look, maybe I'm just talking myself up here. I don't really know. But, I've consumed copious amounts of strong alcohol, like 191 proof alcohol in a night. And I still have memories of it. Now, I don't know if that's because I just really didn't drink enough to black out, which I would find quite surprising, or if it's because I'm autistic and have an eidetic memory that there are certain things I just can't black out from my memory. I really don't know which one it is. But I did want to say really quickly, Bree, when you said you think black licorice is yummy, I just wanted to let you know how many people could fucking clip you right there? You realize what you just did. Black licorice is yummy.
Black licorice is yummy. That's sexy, like. And we have the Surgeon General in the audience, you guys, so they can tell us whether or not.
Oh my God, girl!
Approved.
Pass me some of that licorice, please. Let's go.
Pass me the black licorice. Let's do it.
You like shout out to Surgeon General, really good friend of mine, and just a champ, absolute champ.
Do you like Jaeger bombs? What's the vote on Jaeger bombs? Put a Jaeger bomb poll up, Mark.
I've only tried Jaeger.
Put a Jaeger bomb poll up
personally, and I just
okay, sure.
Tasted weird.
What did
I know you like doing polls. I like vodka and Red Bull better than Jaeger bombs.
Wait,
Jaeger bombs are just too much for me right now.
Did you just say Mark likes hitting the polls? Mark, I didn't know you were all about that life, man. Whatever it takes to make a living, dude. I don't judge.
Make those dollar bills.
I love the polls. The polls are just awesome.
Hell yeah.
Just awesome. Love it.
Would you please?
I'd be throwing money at that nice dome too. I tell you what.
Would you please shut his mic off? Would you please shut his mic off?
Oh, it's on loop. Sorry, that's my dad. My dad. It's on loop.
Sorry, who is that for?
What's going on?
Huh?
Who is that for?
That was Kent demanding they shut Mark's mic off.
Yeah, I got another one.
He's not capable of shutting his own mouth, so you shut it for him, okay?
Okay, really gives you. It's the Hovind, the touch of
How often-
Hovindism.
How often does he appear on
Hovinicity?
Praise's channel like freely like that? Is it once a month or something?
I don't know. I was really tossing up with the last one because
It
nobody
seems
was
pretty
on
often.
there. I don't think I'll go to another one. Like it's just the same crap. And then there's sort of, you know, I mean, he just sat there and brooded while Donnie sort of just spoke for him. You know, it was kind of lame. So yeah.
Well, one of those open panel things he's been doing. Is he still doing those things like he was doing on Praises?
Oh, damn it. He had one 10 days. I need to fucking subscribe to his channel just so I don't miss those.
Don't you have
Blah.
don't you have a toxic sock account?
No.
No, I don't either.
That way that crap doesn't show up in your regular feed when you're wanting to watch the stuff that you like, but you can get notifications about stuff you don't
a good
necessarily want to watch, except for when you're going to reply to it or respond to it.
I've got a toxic sock in my bedroom, but it's not used for that.
Oh my. Understood, Mr. Reed. Understood.
I have a question.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
If I go on, should I try to just to like
yeah, I got it, Jay.
really,
I got
really
it, Jay. I got it. Thank you.
What?
Sorry, I'm just thanking somebody got me a timestamp for.
But if he hosts one of these with Kent Hoban again, Praise does, then I go on. Should I just absolutely just? I don't even know what it would do to Kent's brain, but it would do something really funny. Should I run Fodor's argument?
The what? Sorry.
The argument that Danny runs about natural selection. Should I do it?
Sorry.
Should I run that argument against Kent?
What? I don't know
Fodor's
Danny's
argument?
natural selection argument.
I know. That's the whole thing.
Jerry
Kent
Tapioca
wouldn't
Weasel,
follow
he's
along,
saying
and
something
it would
completely
be-
different in Discord, but he just said no right as you asked that. So I'm going to say that's Dr. Tapioca Weasel's answer is no.
No, what?
Okay.
What?
Should you
whether
run
you
the
should run
natural
that argument.
selection argument?
I just think it would be fucking
I-
hilarious because Kent wouldn't follow the argument. It would be real.
Well, Kent doesn't. I mean, I don't think he really disagrees with natural selection. He just calls it adaptation and says there's limits on it for some reason. You know, so it's kind of you can press him with natural selection, but he'll just call it adaptation and say, hey, but a dog.
Then I
won't
would
get
just
the
call it
size of the
adaptation.
Planet or something. Yeah, but yeah. No, that's fair enough. I don't know the argument, so how could I know whether you should run it or not?
I'm
That's
not
Sorry,
going
I was
to
starting
even
up a
present
thing
the
on
argument
Keith's
right now.
rules, but
okay. Okay, no, that's
speaking
fine.
of
And that's because it'll get into a whole. I don't want to change the. I don't want to do that right now. Reno.
Change the topic from the vastly important topic of Jaeger bombs and socks that we're currently having.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just really quick on the topic of Kent following arguments. I've watched a few more of his debates, not for the good of my sanity, I know, or not good for my sanity, I know. But what I think he does is he just sits there and he listens for keywords, and then those are what he responds to. He doesn't give a crap what your argument is. He just responds to the keywords he hears.
That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't follow the argument because he doesn't follow.
He doesn't follow any argument.
Exactly. So how about them gas prices?
I gotta bounce. I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see how
sure.
it is. Yeah.
We scared Brie away.
How dare you? Well, yeah. I mean, we're pretty scary. T-Jump's coming down here. He's more than welcome. I mean, I've debated with T-Jump before. He's more than welcome.
Yeah, he
T-Jump's
was on my
doing
team the only time I've been on MDD so far.
Yeah. That was a good debate too. Wasn't that against Witsit and stuff?
No, it was T-Rock and Jen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh, that was an
Yeah,
evolution
Jen is-
thing, wasn't it?
Something
yeah,
else.
it morphed a few times until literally right as the show went live. It was originally supposed to be something like Big Bang versus creationism, but then people kept dropping out and changing, and it got nuts.
The look on T-Rock's face when Jen did her intro and he realized that they weren't just not on the same page, they didn't have the same book or even reading on the same planet, like that look on his face was hilarious. And I know because I've had that look before when I did Globe Earth with her kind of thing. Like, yeah, we're coming at this subject in two vastly different directions. Like, I'm coming at it from science and experiments and, demonstrations of how the Earth is round. You're coming at it via Deepak Chopra, basically. Like,
yeah.
Ooh, pizza rolls are done.
Yay.
Wait, what's this? I'm sorry, Dr. Tapioca. I started a stream without you. I mean, I was hesitant, but I decided that we could fill in the Tapioca Weasel space by just appealing to random people across the internet. I'm sorry.
Dr. Tapioca Weasel, it's interesting that you show up because I just mentioned you, which means that he'll speak of the devil thing, which makes you the official devil.
No, I think we all are. Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that debate with T-Rock was actually hilarious. I really enjoyed that. That made me laugh.
Yeah, it was something.
I mean, T-Rock, I don't have anything against him personally. He's perfectly fine. He just
to his credit, he seems to actually believe what he's saying, which is, I find to be very rare amongst creationists. They're either pose or they're professional apologists just out to make a shit ton of money off of lying.
Well, he gets all of his stuff from Creation Ministry and Answers in Genesis. Like, he basically reads word for word from their kind of articles. I've seen it before. It's kind of like, and a lot of them do. Like, for instance, Donnie gets most of his stuff from there as well. He just couches scientific arguments, like scientific examples from papers, and then has a Creation Ministry thing right under it kind of thing. So he kind of tries to smuggle that into his arguments. So a lot of them refer to it. It's just, T-Rock's blatantly obvious in the way that he does.
I remember,
yeah.
I remember watching that debate. I took like a full 2 fucking pages of notes on every one of T-Rock's points from his opening and how wrong every single point was. Like, I think he got 1 or 2 things correct in his entire opening.
Mark, there's somebody you really need to ban in the chat. I don't even know how they got here, but oh my god, I can't believe this. Their name is Gur Streams. You should hide that.
That freaking Gur person.
Yeah, it's that Grr guy. He's here. He's back. I don't know.
Look,
you need to hide him.
like Grr. I like Grr. Hot take and controversial position. I like Grr. Grr's awesome.
No, I like Grr too.
Great.
He just needs to stop streaming when I'm streaming so I can be on his streams too.
Maybe
if
you stream tomorrow, Grr, we can exchange blows, buddy.
Blows, yeah, I know the type of blows you'd exchange.
Fisticuffs? What y'all don't know about fisticuffs?
Pistols at 12 paces?
No, fist. Nobody knows. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, fisticuffs is what they used to refer to it in English. Like,
I was just about to say English culture. This must be how I know that English culture is dying. Nobody knows what fisticuffs means anymore. That's a problem with
no gloves. It's like rugby for boxing.
It's a problem with the United States is there's a whole generation of people that don't know about the phrase "sop it up." I used that the other day, and like 9 24-year-olds had no fucking what sop it. What does that mean?
That's pretty obscure.
And I'm just like, oh god, that's what's wrong with America. That's what's wrong with America.
Yeah,
the whole fucking generation doesn't know what "sop it up" means. So Mark, you ever heard somebody say, You know, it's after. Well, y'all don't have Thanksgiving in Australia, but whatever like big holidays you have or something like that. That y'all like upside down Christmas or whatever it is. Anyway, where like, you know, everybody moves to the living room after dinner and you got that one aunt. I'm not going to do the Australian accent, but they're all like, I'll be out there in a minute. Gonna get me another biscuit. Sop this up. You ain't ever, that was never a thing at your house, Mark?
Not really, but I know that sop means to like soak up liquid into something. So, you know, like usually you refer to it as like, well, usually you refer to it as like actually like sopping up a liquid, like mopping, I guess, like some soaking up a liquid kind of thing.
Yeah, like with a towel or some shit.
See, Gur knows what I'm talking about. He's like, that sounded Southern. See, I guarantee Gur's had that on Thanksgiving. His whole family moves into the living room.
Oh yeah, you do.
He's got the big aunt or the big grandma that's still in the kitchen. Like, I'll be in there in a minute. Got a bunch of juice on her place and a couple of biscuits, just getting ready to, you know, sop it up.
Oh boy.
No.
Anyone know a good mixer for whiskey? Because this is kind of strong on its own.
Ice.
Any kind
Canadian
of cola
whiskey?
works okay.
Ginger beer, ginger ale, the dry one. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I had a drink at the concert in New York City. I don't know what kind of whiskey. It was just whiskey, and they mixed it with Pepsi and a little slice of lime. And the lime was key because it added just that hint of citrus that made it worth the $30 fucking.
I mean,
you got the right idea.
Usually, when I used to drink, I would do
next one.
Scotch with ginger ale is really good. Really good.
Binge Thinker's got the right idea. Everybody's like, just ice. Like, seriously, just put, or get like really cold water and put just a bit of cold water in it. That'll bring it down. But what it will do, as long as you don't overdo it, is it will help retain the flavor of the whiskey. And oftentimes it can help bring it out just a little bit by reducing the harshness of the actual alcohol. You can actually, the flavor sort of opens up a little bit more when you actually drink it. But you might not be drinking it, you know, to sip it for the flavor. You might be looking to get fucked up, in which case I would say chug it.
Yeah, see, the problem is I'm just not good with the flavor of alcohol. I need it to be masked by something.
I see. Yeah, I don't really know what to do about that. If you want to, you know, drink alcohol, I don't really know how to. I mean, just like really water it down or mix. Is it a flavored whiskey?
Juice. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I have no idea.
Just mix it with cola if you need to.
I don't have any of that, unfortunately, and I cannot drive to the store right now.
Damn.
Tonic water?
Nope.
Tonic?
I have water, milk, and apple juice in the fridge.
Apple juice would be my go-to, to be honest with you, out of those three.
What
Definitely
kind of
not
whiskey
milk. That
is
would be
it?
disgusting.
No, not milk.
Canadian.
But
Canadian.
Is it like is it an apple whiskey, a peach whiskey, or just whiskey?
Canadian whiskey.
Look,
So it's
man,
just-
I have no idea. This is my first time trying this stuff.
Can you read me the name on the label of? Well, you might not be by the bottle. I don't want to make you have to get up and walk. Okay.
It's Caliber Canadian whiskey.
That's all it says.
Canadian whiskey is mostly made from grains, and apparently it's the main ingredient is corn.
Oh yeah, it says it's from grain.
I mean,
I think that if you have to mix it out of those three, I would go for the apple juice.
You know,
I would go for the
apple and lime juice. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I would do one of them rather than both. I wouldn't do both of those together.
Let's go. Let's have some fun.
All right. I mean, if you're gonna do that, honestly, I'd just put a bit of water in it. Put a bit of cold water in it. Drop some ice cubes in it. Wait 10, 15 minutes for them to melt, and then slowly sip it. Because that will bring down like the alcohol harshness in it, but you'll still taste like it won't be an alcohol flavor. It will be the flavor of the actual whiskey, what like the kind of barrels that it's soaked in, stuff like that. The actual flavor.
Hell yeah.
But again, I like whiskey to like sip on it and drink it for that. So that's just me. So not everybody's probably gonna like that. So I can't, I can really only suggest it.
So a baby first deal walks into a bar and the bartender says, like, what will you be having? And the baby first still says, anything but a Canadian club on the rocks.
Wow. What? Oh my God. Why is it that Gurr always like is in people's live chats but never joins other people's streams?
Yeah, what the hell, Gurr?
Nah, fucking.
Well, Gurr's fine. Like,
no,
pressure.
Mark, stop it. Quit doing it. No, yes.
Gur's fine.
Yes, no, he's not fine.
Look, Gur's last stream traumatized us all. Okay, and
what?
I think that Gur needs a break. I'm joking.
Were you talking about the one on Rebecca?
Maybe, yeah.
Good old Becky.
I don't know. I keep missing them these
days.
Love
God, even when he murders babies. Okay.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Welcome.
No, literally.
Welcome back.
I'm paraphrasing. Let me look it up. But like the title of her video is something very, very close to that. Let me see.
It's provocative.
Let me come on. What
did I stumble back
Oh my
into?
God, dude! Why is this YouTube so fucking slow?
How many shots does Leo have?
Why I trust that God is good even when he kills children.
What?
Literally, verbatim. Why I trust that God is good even when he kills children.
She says so we could all appreciate how yummy ice cream flavors we have. I mean, different ice cream flavors we have are and things like that.
What?
Is that like bread of life?
Yeah.
Kind of
Yes.
thing,
That's what it came down
Becky.
to. It's like, we have to have these horrendous events in our reality in order for us to appreciate the splendors of the physical world that we live in.
That's what that video was. It was her attempt at presenting a theodicy. Okay, I see what it is. Well, all that would mean is that all the evils that occur at the end of the day ought to occur, and what it means to ought to occur is that it's good, so then there is no evil in the world. I've been over this with her more than once.
Killer killing people is good because that's what ought to occur.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
A problem.
I agree. It's called the problem of evil.
Everything that happens ought to occur, right? Because nothing can defy the will of God. So every time anybody kills somebody, it's justified because it was God's will.
Well, anytime anything ever happens in any reality God creates, since this God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and morally perfect, there is nothing that occurs that all things considered oughtn't occur. Nothing. Everything that occurs ought to occur, all things considered, which is why God stops none of it. Either that or this God doesn't exist. Which means that every 9-year-old girl getting raped right now is what ought to occur, all things considered, and that's why God doesn't stop it. Just remember that, Christians.
Yeah, I often get some kind of crap like, well, he allows it for morally sufficient reasons, which we mere mortals are incapable of knowing.
Then that just means it ought to occur. Then that just means it ought to occur in light of the justifications that God has. Who are we to question God? He's all-knowing. And in light of justifications that ought to occur.
Based on Leo's assessment, ought Gurr get his butt in here?
He ought to, all things considered, and maybe the Gur God exists, and maybe the Gur God doesn't. We'll find out.
That is what God wanted to happen, so that's good that it doesn't happen.
But is it the Gur God? Because if it's the Gur God wants the Gur to join the stream.
I thought Gur was the Gur God. I thought Gur
maybe
was
he is, and that's why we'll see whether we'll find out.
Yeah. Hey, Leo, do Muslims believe in the sort of, all-powerful, all-good?
Yes. In
So
fact, Muslims are
trying good.
Yeah, Muslims are less unabashed about declaring the aseity of God than many Christians are. Or more unabashed, I should say. Less.
Gurry things. I have regard, and I have a report. So it turns out that whiskey plus apple juice plus lime juice is actually not bad.
Hell
There you
yeah.
go.
If anything, it tasted like a cider.
Fuck yeah. Shit, if it works, go for it, you know? I love saying it like that.
Well,
Go for it.
I don't want to drink anymore, but it was
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Come on, it's a Friday. And you, well, I'm not going to say it again because, I mean,
it
you
is a
did already.
Friday, but I
It's-
work at
it's
You live in
11
the
Saturday,
Midwest on a
Friday.
Friday.
I
Break
work
out
at
the
11
whiskey.
a.m. tomorrow, man. This is all I'm
It's
going to
okay.
drink. I got rosy cheeks. I'm happy. I'm with friends. I'm good.
There
Don't,
you go.
don't you live in the Midwest? The son of a third generation farmer?
Look, stop peer pressuring people, Leo. Like, seriously.
Been married
All
10
right.
years to
peer
the farmer's
pressure.
daughter?
All right, listen, I'm going to get real down with you here, man. Yes, I am. And yes, that is my history. But I do have to drive a bus. And I don't think my heritage can get me out of 30 counts of aggravated manslaughter.
That was perfect. Oh my god. Oh shit. And I don't think my heritage can get me out of 30 counts of aggravated manslaughter. Oh shit, that is
Is
good.
that going to be clipped? Oh, shit.
No, let's ensure it doesn't get clipped. I don't think that would be good.
Should I be
Oh,
a
man.
Southern doctor?
Then you gotta call yourself like Connell, like Colonel Doctor Dino. Colonel
Colonel
Doctor
Dino.
Dino.
Estoy señor Dino. ¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
How Southern can we get?
Well, technically you're a
Gotta go to
Dino-Nychus,
Portuguese.
so
By the time you
You're
get
not
Brazil,
even,
you got to speak Portuguese at that point.
Well, I mean, if we're going by Deinonychus, then Oklahoma, but
Oklahoma, where
Yeah.
the rain comes. I'll stop.
Please.
I just every single time. And driving cross country, that happened a lot. You know, I'd be like, oh, we have to go through Oklahoma.
You guys know what the theme song for Iowa is? You ever
Is it a
heard
banjo?
International? Have you ever heard the song International Harvester by Craig Morgan?
Yeah.
oh, jeez.
I was singing it earlier. I'm the son of a third generation farmer. That's it.
Holy shit.
And Mary
My
Tanya.
co-driver
Oh, my
used to play that
international
all the time.
harvester. 3 miles of cars laying on their horns. Falling on deaf ears of corn.
Bloody
I'm sorry.
Why does this state have a song? That's weird.
Because
definitely not official.
Drive
but-
international
oh,
harvesters.
are we sure you're not a Dinotherium or a Dinochirus?
Well, I actually did debate being a Deinonychus, but I like Deinonychus.
Do you say
It has a really
Kyrus
good
there? I thought
scientific
it was
history.
cheer because of the placement of the R.
I have heard it as Kyrus.
Kyrus, okay.
Wait, did Gur
give
actually
me a few
hack
minutes.
Tapio? Wait, what? Did that actually? Because I see two of them. Wait, hold the fuck up. What's going on?
What now?
Yeah.
I'm a little confused.
What's that? You got Gur Streams and Gur Mania coming up.
Yeah.
No, no, there's
Gers-
two different
Gers
tapioca
pretending to be
weasels.
Tapioca weasels.
Oh,
So
Oh, I see it. Stop their tropical. Oh my fucking god, Gur.
tropical
This
weasel.
guy
yeah.
is-
but
Just
one of them has a
fucking
pretty colored name because they
Mm-hmm.
understand that memberships are available from this channel now.
Yeah.
Dr. Tropical. Oh my fucking.
Hey, I gotta think. Yeah, so this is why we can tell them apart because Gur doesn't realize that Tapioca Weasel actually has colors and he doesn't.
Oh, okay. So, at least according to Google Translate, the second part of Deinonychus' name is from the Greek Hiri. I think something like that is how it was said. Hiri. So you could call it Deinonychus, I guess. but I like Dinokairos, so I'm gonna go with that.
Unless Dr. Tropical Weasel is Peter, because that sounds like a very Peter thing to do.
It does actually. It also sounds like a very girl thing to do.
I mean, Peter definitely does do that sort of thing fairly often, but why would he pick Dr. Tapioca Weasel? Like, it'd be much funnier to make a clone of Gurr.
Yeah, that's what Peter would do. I eat the pasta. Oh yes, I eat the pasta and the pussy. What?
You don't know Peter Tapioca Weasel? That does not stop Peter. Trust me, it doesn't.
No, that doesn't matter.
True.
That's
Brett,
probably
I don't
even
think
better.
Brett Keane has ever met Peter either.
And see, that's the thing. The fact that you don't know him means he probably doesn't know you beyond like seeing you on a stream, and then that just means he's not going to feel sorry for what he does. No, I'm just fucking around. Peter's not that kind of guy. Does have a good sense of humor for an old Hollander. That's what I call him. That's what I call him because of the movie The Highlander. I call him the Hollander.
Aha.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Making messes.
Hollander.
There can be only one, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, like, the Quran has talking ants in it. That is really weird.
Wow.
Bible's got a talking donkey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, talking ants is a little worse than it's like. Let's be honest here. We could all believe a donkey would talk before a fucking ant.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not like either would, but which?
Well,
would
it
be
depends on
more
what you mean by
likely?
talking.
Like
Ants
vocalizing words.
Yeah, ants communicate with audible, like some species do anyway. Termites are more so than ants. Communicate with like audible sounds. Ants really depend a lot on chemical communication, which is a little bit different.
Yeah, pheromone fun.
Hey, Brie, I got a question. Do ants use drugs?
Can ants use drugs or do
ants use drugs?
I believe that they can that they can harvest different drugs. Yes.
Ooh, do they take them? To get fucked up.
So there are things that ants do to vaccinate their colony, but they generally don't do medicinal practices to save a single ant. They'll generally actually, if an ant's sick, they will take it away. So they don't really do drugs per se, as in something that they harvest for medicinal
I meant like drugs,
purposes.
like let's get fucked up drugs, not drugs like here, this will fix this drugs.
Huh. I don't
Like
have an answer
cocaine
to that
drugs.
one.
6,
Do
I don't
ants
have an
have
answer to that
capitalism?
one.
10,
Do ants have capitalism?
12, 13, 14.
I mean, there's a queen,
18,
worker
Well,
ants.
so let's make one thing I want to
23.
clarify about ants too, is that the queen is what we as humans project as the leader of the colony, right? She's not actually the leader; she's the breeder. That's all she is. That's all. She doesn't matter.
That sounds more
she's
like
not
capitalism.
calling the shot. She's not making rules. She's not when the colony gets attacked, it's not save the queen. It's not these, as people like to predict in fiction. Ants are mostly ruled by a ruling class of clones. The queen's a clone too, or they're clones of the queen basically. So they're all the same ant. And they take care of the babies. She lays the eggs. They take care of the babies. They need workers. They need this cast.
You said ruling class?
What's that?
You said ruling class?
Yeah, a caste.
So ants have a class structure.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an ownership class or a ruling class and a laboring class.
Yes. Well, so the ruling class is the reproductive class.
And do they take
queen and
more?
their nanny bees and the whatever males.
But they also have a military kind of caste.
That would actually be like even closer to capitalism. Anyway, do they does this quote unquote ruling class take more of the resources than what the worker ants get?
No, I don't believe so. I think they pretty much share resources egalitarian style, but they may exclude certain members of the society in times of scarcity. Different Hymenopterans handle it different ways in their social structure. Some of them will exile the males first because they don't need them. Once the queen already has the sperm reserved, they don't really need the males anymore, so they'll get rid of them first. And then they do kind of work their way up to that breeding class, because everybody in the colony is cloned from this central order, right? They're half or fully part of that individual. So they have it's not even, you can't even call it altruism, because it's like more self-preservation, because they're less like individuals in the society and more like a conglomeration of a superorganism. It gets really sticky when you start getting into that, which organisms are superorganisms and which ones are individuals based on the way they function.
Well, ants don't get
Can I ask something, Bree?
have drugs. Well, I just want to say this: they don't have drugs in Thingo, but they did do
ants
research.
don't have capitalism.
Well, ants basically they found that they could get them high on opium, and they'd go back to the opium instead of sugar when offered a choice. So ants can get addicted to opium, apparently.
Yeah, fruit flies are more.
Ants, but I didn't. So you're saying ants not have capitalism?
They have agriculture.
Yeah, but do they have capitalism?
Can you have societal agriculture without? No, I don't know. Capital. I don't. What would the capital be? Are you considering like laissez-faire? Is that what we're looking for? Because you don't have that.
They don't have capitalism.
Social structure.
By capitalism, I mean private ownership over the means of production. Okay.
No, they don't.
But
that's all I wanted. So they don't trade. Okay, that's good for ants. I was hoping that they didn't. Little bastards.
Could I ask something?
Go for it.
Okay. Bree, how much do you know about the evolutionary history of insects?
A bit. Yeah. What's up?
Any idea how far back eusociality goes in insects like bees and ants, stuff like that?
Yeah, we don't have too much back before for Hymenopterans, right? They didn't really come into hit their stride until we have flowering angiosperms. So that would have been the
mid-Cretaceous, roughly.
Yeah, for like mid to late Cretaceous. I imagine they probably did get some boom from the clearing of the KPG extinction event too. But I don't know about. See, the other group that you got to think of when you're talking about eusociality is termites, right? And they're actually termites. I mean, we all know that they're not even their own group. They're actually just modified cockroaches, right? They're a group of cockroaches that are specialized in eusocial.
They are related to cockroaches?
They're not just related to cockroaches. They are cockroaches.
Okay.
Yes, they're cockroaches are nested within
too much about invertebrates.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, you're good. You're good, and it's cool. So now, who did we lose? Who did I scare away with my bug
Beansy, I
Beansy.
think.
Oh no.
Oh,
sad.
Okay.
It's the cockroaches thing.
Anyway, yeah, cockroaches. The fun thing about cockroaches and that group in general, from more
I have a quick question.
wily wood roaches, if you will, that live independently and aren't really social. You have every step along the way to use socialism is present in the cockroach clade. That's kind of cool that way.
I have a quick question.
That just makes me curious. Like, what would pressure a species to become eusocial?
Okay, so with
they're already successful enough being on their own. We know this by like cockroaches and many other insects today.
Predators.
So why form a colony?
So with cockroaches, for the first thing it starts off as is a grouping together, the benefit of grouping together and being part of a group to evade predators, right? Like the same thing that like herd animals do. It's beneficial for them all herd together. Also, the locations that they would hide in together under in natural environments like wood roaches, under bark or rotting wood, under rocks and things like that. So congregations of roaches together, not only it gave them a level of protection on the individual spectrum of who's going to survive, right? Whoever's got the fastest legs, but also put them all together to breed. So you start getting these little breeding groups, get more specialized. Now with roaches that start to express a little bit of eusocial behavior, things like Madagascar hissing cockroaches are one of my favorite, because what they'll do is they live in like a little, like almost like, again, like herd animals. They will have the mama roach and her little babies, and they
I've held them. They're actually
pheromones
really
that are
cute.
released that'll trigger the way that that some of the offspring will develop, that some of the males and some of the females will develop differently, and some of them will be more prone to breed and things like that. So and they brood together. They will huddle together. They will shelter
I
each
still have
other's
a question.
underneath them. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I'm a little offended. Can we please start referring to them as penis roaches?
Penis roaches.
Yeah, I don't like the word cock. It's just kind of offensive to me.
Yeah, it applies to
I love the word cock.
How about cockroaches?
Spermatosex
just call
or
it
something.
Cockroaches. Wow. Poor roaches. Why you gotta cock the roaches?
So that's my rant for tonight. I'll leave it there about.
It's an interesting topic. I've honestly been curious about it for a while, but I don't have anyone good to ask.
Bree, did I hear you say socialism?
Yeah. With,
No.
What about they socialism? Or
funny.
my socialism?
Our social.
No, we don't want to get
There
talking
you go.
about your
Our
socialism, Leo. That's
I
gonna
mean,
be
technically it's
totally-
EU socialism, so maybe we should be asking about Brexit socialism.
Brexit
Brexit
did not
is
do
not
England any
socialism.
favors. That is that's
opposite
sort
of
of
socialism.
fails for them.
Well, it's a social system.
It's the opposite of,
began
hey,
by
let's work
Brexit.
together.
Let us work together, my fellow Britons.
Well, it hasn't benefited them very much at all. Like, they probably were better off staying in the EU. But,
Nationalism is a hell of a drug.
Well, I mean, they were kind of all of the ads and stuff that were run were very, very devious and sort of very well timed.
Yeah, they were very highly nationalistic.
Yeah, and it's
That's a
weird
big win.
because they can't seem to hold on to a prime minister, and they're still voting for the Conservative Party, which is just crazy. So yeah,
Polls are fucking just dumb.
that's England for you.
Yeah, it's it is the capital of white people and whiteness. So of course, they
probably.
I mean, the Dutch are from Denmark, right?
Yeah.
Anybody?
No,
Okay.
Danish are from Denmark.
No.
Danish
No.
are from Denmark.
Yeah,
the Dutch are from
Dutch or Holland. Well,
Oh.
the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah, the Dutch are also one of the capitals of white people.
Okay.
Holland and England, yes. The Dutch and the English. You could also say Francis too, the French, because these three groups of people, the English, the Dutch, and the French, are effectively who built the Western world. They were white Western European men who built the white Western European world for white Western European people.
Well, you've just named 3 out of the 4 major colonial powers of the, last century kind of
That's
thing.
what I'm saying.
Basically, it was England, France. Spain was the last one I was going to mention. Yeah.
Spain wasn't really a major player in building the Western world. It was mainly the English. Dutch,
Not the Western world.
The Western
Depending on what the
hemisphere,
Western world,
rather
are you
than
talking
the
about,
Western
like,
world.
The West Indies or
Well, I mean, the
Southern
English and the Dutch really had
South
control.
America?
The West Indies was, I think, more the Spanish, or is it the Portuguese? I know the French were there.
You
The
were
Dutch
talking about
kind of.
Spanish, right?
Everybody was
Dutch
in
kind
the
of
Caribbean.
mingled.
The
Well, the
Spanish-
English were
landmass?
there, but the English weren't really focused on the Caribbean. They were focused on the colonies at the time, and
Yeah, they
also
only
the
sold
East
shit
Indies.
from the Spanish. Like Jamaica was a Spanish colony, and the English were like, yoink.
Spain was also just all over Central America.
Yeah, Spain was mainly in Central and Southern America, as was Portugal.
And the Pacific. Spain owned the Pacific.
Well, yeah, but the
Really?
French
I
were
haven't heard
also
much about
in the
that.
Pacific as well.
Mhm.
The English and the Dutch were largely in the
Yeah.
East Indies. That's what led to the two largest businesses that have ever existed: the British East India Company and the Dutch East India Company.
Well, like the Philippines and
Too big
were
to fail.
colonized
Yeah,
by
that's the East
Spanish.
Indies. The Indian subcontinent, the Philippines, I think isn't Malaysia or something in that region. The East Indies.
Malaysia,
Oceania.
off the coast of Asia, isn't it? Or that? No, it's
Yeah.
an Asian country.
Like the Southeastern Asian region is the East Indies. That is the East Indies.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm kind of drunk.
Your mom's the East Indies.
Well, no, my mom is white. My father, however, is from the West Indies. Well, he's not directly, but our heritage is from the West Indies, Trinidad and Tobago.
McCann from
Mhm.
TNT.
Ooh, that's kind of neat.
Does that
You're
make
dynamite.
you Douglas?
What?
Does that make you Douglas?
I don't know what that means. So
I hope
probably
that's not racist.
No, it's what the people of Trinidad and Tobago call themselves.
I don't know if Ember could ever utter a racist phrase. Like, I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't know if that's possible. Like, give me the
What
modality
would you
in which
define
that's
as
possible.
Racist.
What is
Like, that
Tugla,
can
though?
encompass a whole spectrum.
Antigua?
That's pretty subjective.
I don't know what it actually means. I ran into a guy from Trinidad and Tobago, and he was talking about how I forget if it's the city is brown and the countryside is black, or vice versa. And he said, but TNT mix them, and that's Douglas. I'm like, but is there a translation? And he's like, we're just Douglas, man. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if
assuming
you
it might
want to
be-
know the context in which Ember could be racist, I can give him a word that's racist in Australia, and he wouldn't know the difference. So I could trick him into saying something.
Is it bogan?
But everybody knows our
That isn't
slurs.
racist. What are you talking about? That's like saying redneck is racist. Like, it's not. It's just a description.
Since it doesn't apply to all white people. No, well, shit. In the
Right.
United States, people are trippy. There's people who think that calling someone Karen is racist.
Well, that's because conservatives are really fucking stupid.
Yeah, super sensitive snowflakes.
Yeah. Did
He's
you ever
really
see
stupid.
that clip of the woman complaining that they were teaching empathy to children?
Empathy is one of these evil liberal Marxist conspiracies.
I know, right? That was so weird.
They call it
I
social
know the Bible says to
learning.
love thy neighbor, but I hate them homosexuals.
So woke has replaced communism, at least.
Yes.
Well, kind of. It's
Oh,
replaced
shit, I'm too
socialism.
sleepy. I just finished a video about evangelicals are doing this bullshit where they're trying to like repurpose a bunch of Bible verses to say the Bible commands them to judge. You know, Jesus said, do not judge, but never mind that Jesus guy. What does he know? There's all these other verses they're trying to, you know, we're supposed to judge and judge righteously and shit. And as I'm going through these verses, one of them was, shit, it literally had the word empathy in it, but damn it, my brain's too freaking fuzzy. Well, just ignore me. Maybe the thought will come
I
back
think there
later.
was social emotional learning is what that woman was talking about in the classroom, saying it was gateway wokeness to be empathetic to people. It's like weird.
It's weird when people are railing against a fundamental human emotion that helps us socially interact. Like, it's really weird.
Yeah, the people rage against wokeness. Like, is there any negative to wokeness? What is the
I
negative?
don't even
to
know
it?
what wokeness means, and that's the first thing I ask somebody who says, "Oh, it's fucking woke." What does that mean? and then they get really mad because it doesn't mean anything other than this thing I don't like, and they don't want to just like say that because that's obviously really fucking dumb. So they get mad and then project it outward.
49, 50, 50.
So controversial. Wokeness and social justice are kind of very well related kind of thing. So wokeness being aware of social injustices and social justice being the correction of those social injustices.
So you mean wokeness in its original?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
To be
but
woke.
wokeness was more specific originally to
Systemic injustice.
Well, not just that, but also against black people, kind of thing.
Yeah, systemic injustice. It's an AAVE term originally.
Well, I mean, systemic injustice can apply to any race, right? You can have systemic injustice towards
the
people
term
from Mexico or whatever.
Black people acknowledged that other people had plight in society and believed that those who recognized that they also had plight, like homosexuals, they would have been considered woke.
Yeah, so the only problem I have with social justice is its lack of accountability for the violation of, like, a mistake made, basically, like a misuse of social justice. Because if a group of people, and don't get me wrong, social justice is absolutely required. Like, the amount of control it exercises over corporations who ordinarily would just be doing whatever they want, right? And social justice is a way we can rein them in to say, hey, you can't just do whatever you want, or else people, will stop doing your product or buying your product. It is absolutely critical. But the problem comes that there's no accountability for miscarriages of justice. Nobody's held accountable for that. And that's a problem. And we have to acknowledge that that's a problem. Because if I accuse somebody of something and foment a lot of people to go after them,
you get them canceled.
Well, if it's proven incorrect, I can just move on to the next person. There's no accountability for what I've done, whereas our justice system has some sort of accountability for, the police arresting the wrong person or a miscarriage of justice.
Maybe in
done.
Australia.
Yeah, maybe in Australia, but not in the United States.
Well, I didn't say it had a great system for it. I just said it has a system.
Although we do have, if you have the money for it, we do have a countermeasure for cancel culture gone awry, defamation lawsuits. If you start spreading shit about somebody and get them canceled, if they have the money to go through a major civil proceeding, they can. And
I don't think that's the case because
is a big thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if is a big thing, and I don't think it does, because you have to show malice involved, which means you have to show that that person knew that you weren't guilty of that crime or that injustice that's been committed that they're accusing you of, and is doing it for malicious reasons and trying to prove that somebody who maybe just, heard something on the internet and jumped on it, that they did not know, that they knew that was a lie. That's a very tall order, Ember. That's almost impossible.
It can be.
Well, you'd be surprised what lawyers here can do.
Yeah, and a lot of Americans are stupid. They post on Twitter and Facebook, I hate that guy, I'm going to bring him down. But yeah, it is theoretically possible that a person ruined someone else's life but didn't really mean to lie. They actually believed the thing at the time, something like that.
Well,
that's where you get into the stuff like what happened with Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson and Fox News in general.
Right. I guess that is an example, but that's not more social justice. That's justice of a company doing the wrong thing, right? So in these cases, Alex Jones's company or entity as a company was held accountable, and so was Fox News, because it wasn't Tucker Carlson paying out this stuff. It was the Fox News paying out the stuff, which is great. That is a way that we can hold media personalities accountable when they say the wrong thing. I think that maybe there ought to be some level of accountability for people as well.
May I say two quick things?
No, sorry. Next person. Go for it, Doctor. BD, go.
First, like, I do feel like, say, there have been wrongs committed in the past, and should there be some level of recompense for that? Sure, I can agree with that. But I don't personally feel like it's worth demonizing people whose ancestors did the wrong. Like,
what do you mean demonizing people?
Like, there are some people who will say things like, all white people are racist, or things like that. And I don't feel like that's right. Or like the word cracker got brought up in the chat earlier. Like, I don't know, my ancestors fought on the Union side for the Civil War. My grandmother was pretty active in the civil rights movement. I don't feel like that should be applied to me or my family. And I feel like it's like that's the case for a lot of people who just kind of get swept along with things.
I'm sorry, I might seem really stupid, but what does that mean exactly?
Which
like
part?
Cracker, what does that mean exactly? Like what is that referring to? I know it means white people, but why Cracker? What does that mean?
A lot of the time it's used to refer to the term whip cracker, like a slave driver.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's the actual historical origin, but that's what a lot of people see it as. That's what a lot of people are referencing when they use it.
Yeah. So people could call me that as well, right? And
even if your ancestors never owned or advocated for slavery, yes.
Well, most of my ancestors arrived in this country in chains. They were criminals that were sent over here and basically built the colonies for the English. They were criminals. You know, criminals being people that were actually probably set up by others, you know, kind of thing. And because what happened was that a lot of the criminals sent over to Australia, they kind of, like my family, for instance, they were accused of selling a sheep or killing a sheep, and it was found on a post, like the head of the sheep was found on a post in their yard, kind of thing, where anybody walking by can see it. I mean, it just reeks of setup. And after they were convicted, they took away all their land. And this is something that happened very often. They'd convict people, send them to Australia, and then, well, what do we do with all their land that's left over of this family that's been convicted? Goes to the state, this very same people that convicted them.
Sure, so, but like what I'm saying still kind of stands. Like, people would use that as a slur against you just because you are white, even though
even though my ancestors,
even though your ancestors
chains,
had contributed nothing to it, and especially you contributed nothing to it. Like, I would have to double check this, but I don't think any living person. Well, okay, caveat: most living people in around the world could be counted as that sort of person, right?
So I often talk about blame versus responsibility. We're not to blame for what happened in the past, and you know, the people who were colonists in Australia weren't to blame for, you know, what happened to my ancestors, and the people in England weren't to blame for what happened to my ancestors. But when you have, and colonialism is one of those things that it is certainly, I think certainly it is almost the most influential event that happened in modern history, or roughly modern history, back to Victorian times, kind of thing. I really think that Stuff like World War II, incredibly significant. But colonialism was the destruction of nations and taking over nations, replacing their culture, replacing everything about them that made them them, and replacing
I get
it
what you're
with
saying
a certain
there,
culture.
but I get what you're saying there. But let's say your family came over. I'm going to use America as an example because that's the history I'm most familiar with. Let's say your ancestors came over in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Colonialism had already been done. They just wanted to move to a land of opportunity.
What makes you
you
suppose
didn't
that
let me
colonialism
finish.
was done?
You didn't let me
sorry,
finish.
Mark.
Okay,
right?
maybe not
No.
finish.
I think
you
we should
didn't
let
me
Mark.
finish.
Yeah,
Doctor,
yeah.
Doctor,
The
you didn't let
conquering
me
of
finish.
land had already been done.
So, Doctor, you didn't let me finish. So as the culture was replaced with another culture, we're part of that culture's legacy, right? Where we are part of that culture which displaced the people's culture that lived there, that destroyed their nation and displaced them. So while we are not to blame, in my opinion, as part of that culture, as representatives of that culture, we are still responsible for making it a place where their culture is included as well, trying to help them find their culture, trying to help them find the ancestry that they used to be. Like, I don't take no blame, but at the same time, I have to be cognizant that I represent a culture that destroyed theirs.
I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. And I agree. We should try to help people as best we can who have been disadvantaged because of historical events.
Yeah.
I still have a problem with being insulted because of what other people of my race have done that me or my ancestors had no part in. As a personal issue.
I don't think anybody here is defending insulting white people because of what their ancestors did. I think how I would interpret what Mark is saying is that white people are still in the Western world, the ethnic demographic which holds most of the social power, and in virtue of that, it's just going to be the case that some greater level of responsibility is going to fall onto them to acknowledge the issues that we have with the systemic structures that exist in society and working through the social power that they wield to do what we can to change that and to even out the social power in terms of its distribution amongst different demographics of people.
Yeah, that's a really good way to say it, Leo. Thank you. That's perfectly what I was trying to say. Yeah. And as an Australian, I feel I have a significant burden of responsibility because what was done in Australia was absolutely horrendous. Like, we don't talk about it a lot. We don't discuss it a lot, but the only known genocide of humans that has ever happened in Australia. The Tasmanian Aborigines, which were their own sort of race, were completely eliminated from the world. They do not exist anymore, and that is tragic and upsetting, and there's no reason to lie to yourself and say, hey, it didn't happen, or there's no responsibility for us to make things better. For the other First Nations that were brutalized and massacred and, just absolutely slaughtered en masse, it's something that, I have to deal with. It's something that you have to acknowledge. And, the first thing I would do if I was in charge would be change Australia Day, because that is the most insensitive thing I can possibly think of. And I was talking with Beans. Well,
it's referred to as
no,
a black
not to say that as like a competition, but to show how it's similar to what you're talking about. How it's an absolute disgrace that we're celebrating this man. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, Australia Day is the day that the first fleet landed in New South Wales on Australian shores. So it's the day that basically the English colonized Australia. So they planted a flag saying that this land now belongs to them. They're celebrating
the day death
that.
came to Australia.
Yeah, and it's really sad because a lot of the Australian Aborigines they welcomed I guess that's parallel to how some of the Native American tribes they welcomed
not
them.
all, but most.
Yeah,
until
they thought, yeah.
But,
so the Aborigines, as Abracadabra points out, it's called Invasion Day, and I think that's very, it's I understand why. I really do. But the thing is that most Australians, like Beamsy was saying, hey, wasn't it the day that we confederated kind of thing? And it's like, no, that was New Year's Day. Like, no. Most Australians don't know that's the day the first fleet landed, planted the flag and said this land is ours.
Can I add on to what you're saying, Mark? Because I think you're bringing up a broader issue. And, I think a lot of people, when they sit and think about it, will recognize this, but I don't think it's something that most people really think about frequently, which is why I like to bring it up. So when we talk about Australia, and my facts might not all be correct, so jump in here, Mark, if you feel like you need to, please. But as I understand it, the Aborigines people, the native people of that continent, had been living there for 60 to 80,000 years prior to the arrival of the English.
Yeah.
And think about that. They were driven from their land. Their resources were taken from them. Look at the United States of America, what is now the United States of America. People who occupied this continent for 20,000 years were driven from their land, were given diseases they'd never seen before, were slaughtered, raped, and their resources taken from them, while 100 million of them died. Don't even get me started on Africa and the transatlantic slave trade, or what the English and the Dutch did to the Indian subcontinent or the East Indies. The point here being that over the last 600 years of history, it's been distinctively one demographic of humans that has been responsible for massive amounts of death and destruction. Nobody's saying, well, let's blame all of them for all time and they're all evil. What's being said is, let's recognize the structure of our society, its historical development, why it developed the way that it did, the differentials in power between different groups of people, and let's do our best to fix that. And that's exactly what we need to do, because it is the white Western European man who has benefited in the Western world over the last 600 years, because that's who built the Western world, and that's for whom the Western world was built. And I think that is explicitly obvious when we look at the Western world today, particularly its two most powerful states,
and
US
don't forget
and the UK.
The Polynesian peoples.
Yep, Hawaii. How Hawaii ended up becoming a state is, I'm not even going to recap the story. It's so fucking disturbing to me. We effectively just came in, slaughtered a bunch of people and said, we are taking this belongs to Uncle Sam now. And this is what I mean when I say that colonialism, imperialism did not die 100 years ago. They have been alive and well into the contemporary age. They may manifest slightly differently, but to say that like American hegemony or UK hegemony that has been implemented worldwide in Central America, Southern America, Russian hegemony, Chinese hegemony in, Southeastern Asia, Eastern Europe, Africa, the Middle East, raping these regions for their resources so these nations can enrich their own corporations is imperialism. It is colonialism, and it happens today.
Well, I think it's a different brand. It's sort of more financial and economic, like the way the World Bank operates in loaning to these small countries and sort of taking their resources when they can't pay the loans that they know they can't get, kind of thing. It's just a different way of going about it.
Oh, sure. There's a big financial aspect. Like that's what China's doing in Africa right now, is basically buying entire countries by issuing loans to bigger than their economies.
Don't get me wrong. I got massive problems with China and the way they operate, but they have been more generous than America and the Western world.
Vastly more so.
With the countries.
And it's bad for the rest of the Western world.
Right, because they will actually build schools and wells and stuff that they actually need, and whereas the Western world just loaned them money, watched as people embezzled it in the countries, and then called in loan. The Western world has not been
still
nice
sending missionaries to try to get people to reject the use of condoms, so they all die of AIDS.
Yep.
Well, I think the important thing is, though, that Leo and I and all of these people, no one's blaming anybody for anything. But
this isn't anybody's fault. These are systemic issues. It will take all of us acknowledging them and coming together to work out solutions to them. I alone don't have all the answers. I don't know how to fucking fix all these problems, but we can come together.
Nobody
and do
has
that.
all the answers. But the only way you fix the problem is first acknowledging that it exists. That's the only way. If you just deny that colonialism has been baked unfair attitudes into almost every country throughout the world, and that there are systemic problems with the oppressors as opposed to the oppressees in terms of race, then we're never going to fix the problem if we deny that the problem exists. That's the first step. So we've got problems, of course we do, but we're humans. We can overcome this.
Yes.
There's countries that, Australia's not perfect, but we do have a lot of multicultural people here. There's people from Asia, there's people from Africa, there's people all around. It can work. Canada has a very, very multicultural population.
The United States, one of the most multicultural countries in the world, which is why I'm actually glad to see that there is actually quite a bit, not just in the public, but legally, quite a bit of backlash to the Republican anti-trans legislative push. And I'm glad, I have to say, it gives me a lot of hope that maybe there really are enough people in this country who are willing to stand up and fight back. Because that's the thing that scares me the most. Because as most of us should know, I know what happens when not enough people in a country stand up for a targeted demographic. Very, very bad things happen to them. Like 10 million of them getting genocided off the face of the fucking planet.
Yeah. Well, and I think that kind of thing will absolutely no longer be acceptable. Like there's the ones that would advocate for that kind of thing. They're very in the minority. Like most people won't.
Until Ron DeSantis wins the presidential election and Republicans take back the Senate as well. And then it doesn't matter what the American people think. If you think it does, then you don't understand the fucking Republican Party.
Even though they're in the minority of conservatives, they're the loud ones at the top. And the conservatives have nobody else to vote for. It's either, Captain Genocide or Joe Biden. And as far as they're concerned, thanks to Fox News and Newsmax and all them fuckwads, that's the same as voting for the devil. So they will vote for Captain Genocide over Joe Biden.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember I think Australia Day. I think it's 1788. Yeah, 1788 was the actual raising of the Union flag. So 8 years later, it wasn't 70. Do you see more of a shift from multinational to multicultural now?
Well, I would say that the latter entails like the former. I mean, multicultural society is going to be one in which people from a variety of different nations, which is going to effectively entail a variety of different socio-cultures and ethnic cultures and things. Like, think about it. People who are, darker skinned, don't speak English, like African people, they come from different nations. Asian people come from different nations. Middle Eastern people come from different nations. Now, they might not directly themselves come from it. I understand that. Somebody might emigrate and have kids. But at the same time, multinational, multicultural. I wouldn't say they're synonyms, but very, very closely related.
Yeah, well, I mean, multinational in that sort of corporate sense means it spans several nations kind of thing. So,
like there's multiple nations. Yeah.
I mean, EU is a sort of multi-nation country. That's what the EU essentially is. Will we see more of that? Maybe. I mean,
hope so.
South America was talking about it. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like the EU is not. Sorry to interrupt, Mark. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, you go for it.
The EU is not perfect by any means, but I still think it's better that we have it than not. Same with like NATO and all these other these broad coalitions, global coalitions,
agenda.
I think are a good thing, because I think that. I mean, I don't think anybody that promotes these kinds of things would say, "Oh, they're perfect and will fix all of our problems." No, it's just that promoting some fucking semblance of basic cooperation on our planet is kind of a good thing. If it will do something to reduce wars and reduce conflicts and maybe get some people talking to each other at the very least, if not working together where they otherwise wouldn't have, I think.
Where are you getting these dangerous socialist ideas, Leo?
I don't know. There's a couple of books I can give you. There's this guy, I don't know, his name was like, what was it, like, fuck, I can't, like Mark Clocks or some shit like that. He wrote a bunch of stuff that was really, really cool.
Oh, I was thinking of that Yeshua guy that was wandering around Jerusalem for a while.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Look, he said he was coming back. He went to the store for cigarettes. He said he was coming back.
Exactly.
And just left us, so I don't think we should be relying on Daddy Yeshua. Aren't you debating Ozian on Marxism, Leo?
I think at some point we're going to set something up, yes.
Okay, cool. But you don't have anything set yet?
No, not yet. Oh, fuck. Hopefully I can find this fast enough to keep this relevant. Come on.
Yeah, Ozian's been put on slow mode by MDD because he's been on too many shows recently. That's why our debate with the geocentric people got postponed.
I like Ozian. He's so calm and stoic kind of thing. He's a good guy. I really like Ozian.
Did I pass it? I really hope I didn't. I don't think I did. Should be somewhere around here. Come on.
So anyway, you guys doing anything else fun tonight / the rest of the day?
I gotta go out to dinner with Lynn and my in-laws. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah. But it's tonight, which is your tomorrow morning.
Yeah, after I get off here, I'm off to bed because there's a mini Comic-Con in a city nearby tomorrow, and bringing the kids.
Nice.
So I got to get up kind of early-ish for that.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Yeah.
Well, I found. Okay, that's not what I was looking at. You know what? Fuck it.
Nobody's lived under socialism. Well, people have social democracies. Like the Sweden, Norway, Denmark kind of thing. They have social democracy.
Those don't really address the issues.
There's also two different versions of socialism depending on who you're talking to. Like, most of us consider socialism to be a governmental type structure where
I do not.
The people are more directly involved. It's something along the lines of like worker co-ops and that sort of thing.
Well, that's market socialism.
Yeah. But then there's the conservative idea of socialism, which is it's a dog whistle.
Basically communism.
Well, they strongly associate it with communism, but to the conservatives, socialism means free black people.
Well, they don't understand either socialism or communism. And
Yeah,
oftentimes
but when
equate
you
them
hear
and they're not the
conservatives
same.
talk about how socialism is evil, what they mean is the black people need to be slaves again.
And women shouldn't, they need to be back in the kitchen.
Man, I remember back in high school, I wrote an essay about how a more socialistic society would probably result in less school shootings. That was not a very well received paper.
Well, you
Wow.
live in, so I would not talk about that one.
That is not playing to your audience. That is not playing to your audience.
Sorry,
I should
was
clarify.
idealistic.
Socialism is economic, not political. Socialism is both. It's political economic, just like capitalism. Socialism is a mode of production.
Socialism is when you white people.
No, socialism is when the government does stuff, and the more stuff it does, the more socialister it is.
Yeah, it's things like free college and fire departments and public funded schools.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though corporations completely still exist and the entirety of the capitalist mode of production is still maintained, that's completely, totally socialism. Yes, that's how it works.
Well, everybody supports some form of socialism in their country because
Do they?
they tried to have. Yeah, I mean, when firefighters first started up.
Well, I don't think
they were
firefighters are
companies.
socialist.
Well, it's still a
I
socialist.
mean, it's a public
Well, it's a-
service
yeah,
funded
it's a
by
public
tax dollars
service,
for the
but-
betterment of the people.
Socialism is broader than that. Socialism is a mode of production.
Can it be a socialistic aspect of a society?
I mean, I would suspect that fire departments would be cooperatively owned and democratically controlled under a socialist economy.
Yeah, they'd be more like a
but-
public library. There are, in the U.S. at least, there are private fire departments or contracted out fire departments. A lot of the volunteer fire departments, they can impose their own tax districts and become semi-socialistic, but they also have the ability to, like, if you call for an ambulance, they will send you a bill for thousands of dollars.
Yep. Which is fucked up. Very.
It's not entirely their fault. It's not like they're being greedy. It costs a shit ton of money to operate an ambulance.
Listen, the American healthcare system is just depressing, to be honest with you.
It's absolutely
Absolutely.
horrid. And I will still
there's a lot of
maintain...
depressing things about America.
I would still maintain that there is no meaningful empirical argument that can be made against the idea that the United States should transition into a single-payer healthcare system. You cannot support such an argument empirically, because if you just look at literally every other developed country, it's obviously a better system. Obviously, evidently, you can see it literally in the data. I don't know how much fucking clearer it has to be. We can literally see it working almost literally every fucking where. What the fuck more do you want? This is like saying, hey, it's gonna rain, and then somebody shows you, hey, it's raining outside, and you're like, oh, well, that's just an evil Marxist trick with the hose to get us all to pay more taxes. It's just so fucking dumb. I genuinely don't. Well, I do understand. It's not that conservatives think that single payer healthcare is economically unfeasible. It's that they recognize that it is, and they recognize that there are going to be groups of people who will get care that they don't want getting care. That's why they don't want the system implemented. Because there are people they want to suffer in society.
No, it's also, I don't think it's because they want people to suffer. I think they just want the companies to make the maximum profit they can, regardless of the amount of suffering it causes.
Even North
I think that's
Korea
the
has
business owners.
socialized healthcare.
I think that's the business owners, Mark. That's how the shareholders and the executives are looking at it, 100%.
Yeah.
But conservative voters in the U.S. are not looking at it that way. They're looking at it as, well, if single-payer healthcare gets passed, then all these damn dirty-gers and immigrants are going to start getting health care, and these trans people are going to start getting health care, and I don't want that because I don't like them and I want them to suffer, so I don't want a single payer system.
I don't think that's the case.
I think it is.
I think they think that if those people get health care as well as me, then I'm going to be put in a line and never get my knee looked at or whatever. And I think they believe all of the stupid stuff that they're being told by the conservatives.
I mean, based on actual things I have heard in my life, you're both right.
Yeah,
I
little
was gonna say,
column
I
A,
think
little
It's a mix
column
of the
B.
two.
Not wrong, but
Yeah, maybe.
I think that there's
it's
this
the whole
under.
I'm
I
not
think it's
special thing.
it's the same thing with immigration. It's not that conservatives are just want these good-hearted people to just come in the right way. They don't want fucking brown people in their country, and that's a facade for allowing plausible deniability when you accuse them of being racist. Well, I'm not racist. I just want them to come through using the proper methods. But then when you explain that almost all of them are actually doing that, there's always an excuse for why we still shouldn't let them in. Because it isn't about coming here, quote unquote, properly. It's about keeping brown people out of our good white America.
Borders, language, culture, all that happy crap. But I think we can't overlook the profit factor. Like racism, institutional racism, or just loss of privilege.
Yeah.
All notwithstanding, American healthcare is primarily a for-profit institution, and boy, does it make a shit ton of money. The Catholic Church runs many of our hospitals, possibly even a majority. I haven't seen the stats. They get more money from our hospitals than people donating to their charities. It's unfreaking real.
And
then there's the insurance bullshit.
Isn't all of that
for profit?
Isn't all of that untaxed?
When it's the churches ones, yeah.
Church, yeah.
That's what I thought. And see, this is why I laugh when people say, well, we shouldn't tax churches. I'm like, you're dumb. Oh my God, you really don't know.
Yeah.
You really don't know. You're not woke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is a fascinating topic, but I think something worthwhile was brought up in chat. This was originally about if the Quran is scientific or not.
I know. We've gone off a
This is a
complete tangent.
fun,
I decided.
worthwhile topic, but it might be better for a different stream.
Well, I absolutely love the conversation. I think it's been really good. I'm probably gonna wind up because we went off the topic like 2 hours ago and never got back to the topic. So,
well, I mean,
but that's okay.
The problem is that the topic is just very, very easy to talk about. Is the Quran scientific? No, not really. Okay, let's talk about something more interesting and pressing. So that's where we're at. Like,
well, it would have been better if we had some people too that disagreed, so we could have a good conversation about why you think that the Quran is scientific. Because I'm not convinced. I think that the things that they point to scientifically, I'm certainly, and I don't think anybody on the panel is convinced. But that's okay. Like, that's why I was just like, okay, we'll let the conversation go.
Mark, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we went
fucking
through
kidding
beer
me?
and we
Dude.
went through, history,
Muhammad
all
split the
kinds
moon.
of things.
Okay, the moon was split.
Yeah.
It's got like the line thingy thing on it. You haven't seen that? Yeah, it's been split. Yeah, definitely, 100% happened. The moon was split.
Yeah, and then put back together. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Not convinced.
That's
Not
how general
convinced.
relativity
Anyway,
works.
I'm going to wrap up the room, and I want to thank everybody for coming.
What are you talking
I know
about?
that Leo's just disagreeing because he wants me to keep the room open, but
we're getting started on our lectures on general relativity. There's a test on Monday.
Well,
we need people to prepare for this.
I mean, maybe we should just leave the room
I've
open
got
as
all
just
these notes.
Leo, and people can come in and argue with them.
Yeah, I've noticed that Gur's been leaving his room open.
No,
lately.
the last time I left the room up for people, I came back and two people were shouting at full blast at one another, and one of them was Leo. So no, I'm not.
When was this?
It was a while back. It was and
it was the same stream as our zoo argument.
It was you and Wilberforce, I believe, were having the heated, incredibly heated discussion. So I'm not going to.
You know what's funny? You know what's really funny is that people tend to think I'm genuinely angry in these situations and not autistically reacting in a way that matches the intensity of the person who thinks that they're going to be able to outdo me, an autistic person who will match your intensity.
Well, the fact that I could hear you from my kitchen meant that on headphones, like I'm not using speakers, I could hear you on the headphones from my kitchen. Means that I won't be doing that again. I think
you say you try to match intensity. I think you match intensity plus 40 to 80%.
Sometimes you have to do that. You have to go like 180% over them because they're dumb and they don't know what they're talking about and they need to be schooled. And sometimes there are just people that are that way.
No, you do get passionate from time to time, Leo, but the
yeah.
thing of it is, and people find that intimidating.
That's okay.
You know, they hear a male voiced person getting loud, and it causes that flinch reaction kind of thing. But at the same time, when you do get passionate, it's because there's a goddamn good reason for it.
Yeah.
It's not like
And
you're
being passionate's
angry at
okay.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, being
Well,
passionate's okay. It's just,
I
there's
mean,
got to
it
be a
depends on the
limit on the
topic.
amount
Does
of passion.
pineapple belong on pizza?
How dare you?
I think it's all right if you
there's
like
gotta be
pineapple
a-
on your pizza. I think it's all right if you don't. People have different flavors. I like sushi. Some people
No.
don't. Those people
No,
are
that's
wrong,
it.
but it's
Get out. Get out.
You don't like sushi?
All right, I'm wrapping up. I love sushi, man. Sushi's
Yeah,
on my
sushi's
favorite.
Oh, you just
fucking
don't like
best.
pineapple on pizza, huh?
Correct, yes.
Oh, you're wrong. Anyway,
yes,
that's a
there's
fine
no
wrap up.
cause for it. All right. Yeah. And thank you so much for being on here. I'll just do my banners kind of thing. And so thank you all so much for coming. I hope it's been enough. I know it didn't keep topic. That's okay. We didn't have a lot of dissension on scientific validity for the Quran. Understandable. I think that
Because there
Apostate
isn't
Prophet
any.
did a fantastic job. I think that Hussain did a fantastic job with what he had. I disagree with him, but I still like Hussain. So
Was that the same
it
guy
was a
who
good
debated
debate.
Dillahunty?
I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
So
Okay. Was that the same
was
guy
that?
who debated Dillahunty in person? I think it was.
At
that's
DebateCon
correct.
3.1.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I don't know who threw him up against Dillahunty, but
Matt
Wow,
actually did. I mean, Matt's a good debater. I'm not a big fan. I don't think the guy's a bad guy, but I think he's just so fucking burnt out from doing what he does that he just because I've seen him on Twitter. People are like trying to be genuine with him, ask him a question about something. Maybe they're not understanding it. They heard him say something, and he's just so either outright aggressive or passive aggressive. I don't think he's doing it consciously, but I just wanted to say quickly that I think
so
Matt's a
either.
good guy, but I've got some criticisms, but he is good with debates. That guy is very good with his debates.
Yes, and he doesn't let anything go by. He
Exactly.
doesn't let he picks up on every single mistake or error in logic and absolutely grabs it, kind of thing, which I appreciate. I think so as well, but we don't know what else is going on in his life. You don't know, what else is going on. And after I'd been, debating, creationists for including pre-subs for 30 years or something, I think I'd be a bit more cranky as well. So
How old is he?
He said more than once that he is tired of bad debating Muslims. He's he's so sick of Christian apologists, but he will trade all the Muslim apologists for a Christian apologist.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other, and do enjoy your night, evening, or whatever. Thank you so much for coming, and much love, everybody.
Yeah, good times. Bye, everybody.